Hey guys, J-Man here in the Phantom Zone, and today we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife. We'll probably talk about some of the other Ghostbusters incarnations. There's the cartoon series, there's obviously the 2016 movie, and then there's the two originals, there's the video game. We're not going to talk about the Ghostbusters, the one with the ape and all that Filmation one, which I actually did watch as a kid, and I got tricked into watching it, but we'll talk about the real Ghostbusters. We'll talk probably about the toys and all that stuff as well. I got a super killer panel today, so we're just going to kind of get into it. We're not going to do spoilers yet. I will announce before we do spoilers. We're going to just give sort of a rating out of 10, and that's going to be using my space method, which some of the guys know, some of them don't. So I'm going to explain the space method once I bring everybody in. And the links to everyone's channels and websites are all in the description of this video. So you can check all those guys out. And most of these links are in all my videos anyways. So if you do happen to miss anything, you can check out the links. We did start a little bit early, but hey, the Phantom Zone is unpredictable. But something that is predictable is my first two people who are on. And that is Sean. How's it going?
So.
Hey. So Sean and I, and of course, Steve, how's it going?
It's going.
All right. So the three of us saw it opening night, not the first showing. The theater was surprisingly sparse.
Yeah.
We were surprised.
I will note that we had our first minor theater confrontation since this whole COVID thing.
What?
Yeah, there was. You
I don't remember this confrontation.
I'm usually on the end, so I usually am closest to the rest of the audience. And there was these two teenage girls who were like pss, 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 throughout the entire movie. And the guy in the row, it was the row in front of us, and the guys down from us. You would think they were far enough down I wouldn't hear this, but the guy leaned over and went, shh.
Oh my God. Well, normally I fight, and Steve and Sean can confirm this. I fight with people in the theater, like swearing matches. I've had swearing matches.
I counted something like 7 people in the theater, and we went to an IMAX theater, so
wow,
that's kind of disappointing.
That is disappointing.
Okay. I'd like to note that the two teenage girls were going pss, 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 left halfway through the movie.
Oh, well, good riddance, I suppose. Okay, so next is first time ever on my channel. He is my god brother, and he's been in the chat all the time. And he sort of messaged me like 2 seconds after this movie was announced, like 10 years ago. He's like, whenever there's a Ghostbusters sequel, I must do a live stream. I'm like, all right. So I literally, like, he literally messaged me. He's like, we need to do something. I'm like, I set it up immediately that day, that second. I'm like, okay, it's set. And that is Brendan. How's it going, dude?
What's going on, gentlemen? How's it going? Jay is absolutely right. The second the release date was announced, I'm like, we got to do something for sure. And it's surprising that you haven't done like a Ghostbusters thing already, since how influential the movie is overall. I think I'm not going to speak for you guys, but for myself, it's been highly influential in my life in general, right? And not just by the way the movie is constructed, and just how the first Ghostbusters is just a masterpiece in general. Let's just get out of it.
Maybe we'll talk. Maybe we'll start. Maybe we'll lead in with that too, because I got a few stories with for us on that as well. But okay, let us introduce our favorite guest to have on here. I've been on his channel a million times, and he's been on mine a few times. So I think I have to. I owe him 999,999 more guest appearances to equal my 1 million. That is Clobberin times. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, buddy? My friends.
Hey.
It's great to have you on, man. This is going to be fun.
Well, you guys brought something up. The theater was pretty empty for when I saw it on Saturday, but granted, it was like a 9:40 show, like at night, so I got out at 12. So that's to be kind of expected. But I was looking up the numbers today; it actually did pretty freaking well, considering. I think they pulled in 44 million this weekend. Good. So considering COVID and people are still, I think, scared to still go to movies.
Just Toronto doesn't like Ghostbusters.
So, okay, Clobby. So we're all in Canada. And you're up in the States. How was your theater for the amount of people, and when did you see it?
Opening day around at a 5-something feature. I saw it. I'm in Louisiana, way down in south in Louisiana, way down south, and there were about maybe, and this was this past Thursday. There were maybe 10, 12 people in that showing. But that doesn't mean anything, because I've been hearing a lot of people saying that the first couple of days, saying, "Wow, no one was in this theater," and now it is going to do at least, looks like it's going to have a halfway decent weekend, all things considered. So,
Okay, yeah. So I think it will be. Were you able to get your AMC Ecto One popcorn?
No, Marc was worried he might not get one, so I went to our AMC, but I did tell him ahead of time. I said, down here it's. Yeah, it's the sticks. We don't get that kind of stuff. And surely enough, they knew nothing about it. So I just out of the wonderful Sherry. Hello, Sherry. Lovely to see you, beautiful lady. And Troy, my good buddy
as well. How's it going?
Oh, hey, buddy.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Troy. We appreciate that.
So
Okay,
I
so yeah,
resent when I went to a different theater. I went to a Cinemark just to spite them.
Do we have AMC anymore? We had.
No.
You know what? I'm gonna
Closed
plug.
down.
Yeah, I'm gonna plug AMC because I really liked AMC. They had the free refill thing.
Yeah.
They had it was the seats were better than our Cineplex. I think the IMAX maybe. I think the sound of the IMAX wasn't as good, but seat placement was much better in AMC. I felt. I don't know what you guys. Brendan, have you gone to AMC? Have you gone to an AMC?
Me, long time ago, and it was superior to like the Cineplex that normally was in the areas.
Yeah, Cineplex beat them here. They went out of business in Canada, so yeah.
Yeah, I saw the show in the VIP, so I was in pure luxury. So it was
good.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good show.
There you go.
We always do IMAX for sure. VIP I did VIP for Hunger Games. I do not like Hunger Games at all. My cousin kind of was just like, we gotta go. It was her birthday. I'm like, okay, let's all go. We went to the VIP experience was awesome. You're sitting in those big chairs, and you order your drinks and popcorn.
Yep.
You can order beer and stuff, and they bring it all to you. Do you guys have that in the States, Clobby?
We do have some like that. We have a place called, well, of course, there are a couple of famous ones, Alamo Draft House. We don't have those down here, but there's movie tavern and things like that. I've decided that when they got the waiters coming around and the waitresses coming around, it's kind of annoying at a movie theater when everyone's ordering food and it takes forever to get there. So it's not all it's cracked up to be the whole.
There's one big positive though that we haven't said. It's that 18. Well, in Canada, it's 19
over.
plus.
Yeah.
For no matter what the movie. So Hunger Games, it was all adults. There was no stupid crap. There wasn't. Yeah, because it's alcohol served. So
That's good.
In Canada, is it 19? I don't know.
19, yeah, 19.
Yeah, 19. What's it in the States?
As far as it's 21 here.
It's 21.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so for us, it's like no one under 19. I mean, woohoo! Yeah. I'm never gonna drink in the movie theater. Like, I can't have beer with popcorn. That's weird. I gotta have my over water saturated, watered down pop or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's go once around the table and talk about Ghostbusters 1 before we do our quick, or just maybe Ghostbusters in general. And I'll start with Brendan on this one because he's the one who sort of suggested this. So tell us when you saw the first Ghostbusters, what your thoughts are real quick on just Ghostbusters and how it kind of got you excited to,
Oh man, the first Ghostbusters I saw from a VHS tape because I was born in '83, so the movie came out in '84. So I was 1 year old. I couldn't see it, and there's no possible way I could see it in theaters. Well, I did technically see it in theaters when they re-released it a couple years ago. They did that whole re-release. I jumped at the opportunity, so I technically have seen it. But I was young. By far, my favorite movie. Looking back at it, when I watched this movie like a trillion times, but going through it when you're older, you start to pick up those little jokes like, oh, he's a sailor, he's in New York, we get this guy laid, we'll have no problem. It's like when you're a kid, you don't understand like what the context of that is, but all the adults get it. So you pick up all the adult jokes and all the subtle humor that a kid wouldn't pick up, but it's still. I don't even think the first movie is a kid movie to even begin with. It's not something I would like. You could show it to your niece or nephew or kids or whatever, but it's not really. I don't think it's really made for them. But yeah, that movie was pivotal in my love for movies. The second one I did see in theaters when because it came out in '89. So yeah, I was about 6. So I do remember seeing that movie in theaters, and I was like losing my mind. I'm like, holy crap, I'm seeing Ghostbusters in theaters. It was so good. No, yeah, I love the movie. If we're doing space on the first movie, it's perfect. It's 2s across the board, 100%.
I would agree. It's 10. I would say the first movie's 10 out of 10 for me.
Oh yeah,
easy. And maybe we could do a quick. Is there anyone who wouldn't say 10 out of 10 for the first movie? Bobby, 10 out of 10, or would it be like lower?
I mean, it's in my top 10 all-time favorite films, and I'm a complete nut for the first one, so it's a 10er. It's an above 10 for me.
I agree, 100%.
Okay, Steve, Sean, 10 out of 10. Like,
of course,
God,
yeah. Oh, okay. Whoa, oh my God.
Everyone's getting like, offended.
Well, I don't know if there's going to be an intellectual who's like, 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I remember you and I. So my first job ever was working for your father at his machine shop. And I remember when you came in there, we would quote Ghostbusters lines all day during work. And you knew them all. Like, you even knew the part 2 lines where I'm like, I wasn't that good on part 2. But like the atomic weight of cobalt.
58.9.
So do you like, what do you think part 2, Brendan, would you say is a 10 out of 10, or would it be
No. If I'm going space,
on part 2, yeah.
Part 2, it's definitely not a perfect. I would go maybe like a 7.5, 7.
Right. Okay, that sounds fair.
Because it's so hard to follow up perfection. Like, how can you possibly follow up absolute? There's very few sequels in general that have lived up to the hype of the original, like a T2, for example.
Yeah.
T1 was amazing. T2 blew it out of the water. Aliens, I think there's a couple movies, but yeah, to follow up Ghostbusters, probably, like I said, might be the best comedy of all time. I'll go 7 on that, 7.5 maybe.
For part 2? Okay.
Yeah. The video game was fun. The video game was fun.
And I'm going to let some of the other guys take over a little bit once we get to the video game, because I played it at 0 minutes. Like, I never didn't play it. Okay, so we'll come back on that.
Yeah, we'll go,
So Clobberin times, what did you think? Okay, so part 1 is in your top 10 favorite films. So what was your experience with Ghostbusters, and what would you say about part 2 in general?
Actually, I lied, because we did our top 25 recently. I had my list available. I checked it. I have it at 11. But also, what Brendan was saying about the greatest comedy of all time, I guess it is for me, because it's the only comedy that high on my list. So I adore it. In 1984, there were a few movies that, again, because I'm very old, as you know. I was 20 years old at that point. I was and a geek, going to the movies all the time. There were about 3-4 movies there. Star Trek 3, Search for Spock, went about 15 times. Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, well over 10 times. And this one, well over 10 times, over and over again. I can't even remember the exact number, but we were so nuts for Ghostbusters and there was no merch, so I'd have like a buddy of mine who was an airbrush artist. He airbrushed me a Ghostbusters T-shirt that said, "Back off, man, I'm a Ghostbuster." And he airbrushed the Ghostbuster symbol on the side of his crappy old Toyota Opal.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Just because, we were just freaks for this thing. And again, like back then, you couldn't just go buy all the merch because there was very little, as you know. So I consider it a perfect film as well. I love it dearly, and it is easily. Let's forget about favorite films for a second. Let's one day do a ranking of the most quotable films ever made. Top 5, easy.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. So what about part 2 then? I guess you saw that in the theater. What were your thoughts on part 2?
Well, Brendan really handled it right there. It's real tough to live up to it, but it's also tough to resist and on liking it on some level, because you get to see them again. And you have that bar so high. Bride of Frankenstein, Empire Strikes Back, Terminator 2, a few others, but for the most part, it's tough to top an original. And I like it. It's about close to like a 7 or something for me. And seeing them get back together, and at least it has some nice fun moments as a film, that's what it does for me, really. It's tough to dislike, even though, and also you love the first one so much you don't really expect it to be as good. You go in knowing, I just hope it's decent, because man, you're not touching that first one.
Right.
I think you just, like, for the second one, you just want to see them bust some ghosts.
Yeah.
Right. And they busted a lot of ghosts. So you know what?
Yeah.
You can get nitpicky, which I get it. People, it's definitely not a perfect movie, but
No.
for what it is, it does great for what it does.
I'm with you.
All right. Okay. So Steve, Ghostbusters 1 and 2 thoughts?
Well, I saw the first one in the theater. I was about 7 years old. Thought it was amazing. I've grown to love it more as an adult. It over time. Like, I say this a lot, but like what people have to understand about the 80s is we had an embarrassment of riches. Ghostbusters was a great film in a decade of great films. So it was hard for me to really take it aside and say, is it better than Star Wars? Is it better than Indiana Jones? Is it better than stuff like that? It was like we had Transformers, we had so much stuff in the 80s. It was insane. Like that was the decade. I love it more as an adult. Like I've gotten a lot of Ghostbusters stuff over the years. I got a little proton pack on my shelf there, and of course, J-Man was kind enough to get me an Ecto 1 little Hot Wheels edition last time he was at a toy show. It's a perfect film. I agree with that. It's probably in my top 20. Quotable film, absolutely. It's genius. I don't think there's a person on the street, if you walk up to them and say, "Are you a god?" they won't say, "Yes." It's a genius movie. And I was lucky enough when I went to Universal Studios in Florida to get a reenactment of the final scene. They do that cool. There, and it was awesome to watch it again. Part 2, kind of siding with the panel here. I would give it an 8. I do like the idea. I like Peter. Is it Peter McNichol? I think it's Peter McNichol. Is his name. Mm-hmm. The little guy. He's hilarious.
Janosch.
Yeah, I cannot.
Janosch is the best.
He's the Mr. Bankman. Why are you came? Please, no.
Yeah. I mean, and like they threw a Nintendo thing in there, and like I don't know. Whenever you threw a Nintendo thing in, you immediately got my
There's a He-Man reference in the beginning too. So
yeah, there's a He-Man.
Oh, that's Jason.
He-Man. I know that was great.
You know who that is? That's Jason Reitman. The kid in that scene, that party scene, that's Jason Reitman.
Oh my God,
that's right.
That's awesome.
My dad said you guys are full of crap.
Yeah, I know.
That's even funnier. It's like his dad's Ivan Reitman. Oh man, it's great.
Ghostbusters 2 is sort of underrated in my opinion. I feel like it's got a lot of good stuff going. The slime thing I didn't get really when I first saw it, but I've come to appreciate that they were trying to do something different. But I totally agree with the panel. You don't top the first one. Like that would have been damn near. That's impossible. That's an impossible thing. So it's pretty good. But yeah, it's not as good as the first one, but how many movies are?
Right. Okay. Sean, 1 and 2?
1 is like 10 out of 10. 2 is like an 8. And slightly dovetailing into this movie, I feel like part 2 looks better to me now. This film made that other movie better. But part 1 and 2 I saw in the theater. Steve was saying that the 80s was an embarrassment of riches. Ghostbusters and Gremlins came out in the same weekend.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I saw Gremlins, I think, the week after, but but Ghostbusters was always, it was a perennial, like it was always in the VHS machine, and my cousin and I would watch it constantly. We'd always laugh at the Dickless joke and everything. Yeah. And as I grew older, I liked the structure of it. And I'm keenly aware of the fact that it was a disaster behind the scenes, and it was really saved in the edit. Because there's a lot of ad-libbing and mugging, and I told you, J-Man, about that one scene where Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray are playing bums, and Louis Tully runs past them, and they're playing different characters, and that was cut out of the movie because they just suggested stupid stuff, right. All the time. But for the most part, all the ad-libbing was about the characters and the situations, and it was really brilliant. And that whole movie, like of them being entrepreneurs and working their way up, is awesome. Part 2 is great. At the time, I was really into the cartoon, so I was like, how come this isn't like the cartoon? And I know that's a cardinal sin, but for whatever reason, they're working things from the cartoon in, and it didn't fit. Right? It's like, why is Slimer there? And all the slime is the purple slime from the toys and everything. It's just stuff didn't fit. But watching it now, it's great to see them in action in their prime still. It's kind of cool to see them in the costumes and everything. The way they looked in part 1 as well. The cartoon was awesome. I had some of the toys, and then that dovetailed into Extreme Ghostbusters when they were just trying to cash grab. That show is awesome. It's a great example of how to make a sequel to all that stuff, but no one liked it because it wasn't the actual Ghostbusters. Egon was back, but and over the years, I've binge watched the cartoon, which is like 173 episodes, which is crazy. But with this recent push, I've been buying a whole bunch of Ghostbusters crap. I'm surrounded right now.
Yes, I know that.
I knew
You
this.
cleared out my Walmart, my Toys R Us. I literally went into my Toys R Us. There's nothing in the Ghost. I'm like, literally, there's a sign that says Sean was here. I was like, oh my God, I can't buy anything.
I went in and bought like the entire collection of the Plasma series for the movie, and I cleaned out a Walmart. And I walked in again. It's like, when did they restock these? And they never did. And I was like, oh crap! I just took this away from kids or whatever. But, I bought like 3 Ecto ones in the past few months.
How many?
Well, I have. They reissued the Canon one,
Right.
and that's the only good
Well,
one.
that's a must-have.
I bought the 2 movie ones. They're too blocky
Right.
for my taste. They don't look really good. I bought them because there's a package variant, so I'm a collector.
Oh my
so
God.
there's a tan outfit and there's a blue outfit like on the package.
Well, you
Anyway,
gotta get you got. Oh, yeah.
so yeah, heading into this, I was like, I knew that it's Hollywood. They're gonna do their old tricks and games. We can get into the movie.
Hold on.
Okay, but I'll just say like, yeah, like I know you all laughed at me for buying all this Ghostbusters stuff. In my defense, most of it was the classic characters, because they did release the cartoonized versions of the movie guys, which are great. They look great.
They do look good.
The big figs, which you don't see anymore. I bought the big figs of the classic guys, and I bought the Plasma series of the classic guys. Most of that was because that to me is Ghostbusters, not these kids yet, right?
Right. Well, they'll be back, and I'm sure there'll be a part 2 since this is, I think,
probably not. But, yeah.
Well, we'll see. Well, obviously, I love Ghostbusters. I didn't see part 1 in the theater. I saw 2 in the theater. I had the Ghostbusters 2 movie novelization. I had Egon's my favorite character. I had we'll go around, do a round of who's your favorite Ghostbuster. Egon's mine. I always like the smart people: Donatello, Egon. Anybody who's like the smart person in any of these kind of generic groups that they always have in shows. I always like that person, the nerdy person. I role played as Egon all the time. I had my backpack. We refashioned our little proton packs. I had a PKE meter, and I had the glasses already because I wore them since grade 2. So I was like, good. I even tried to do that swirling, like the cartoon Egon, where he's got like the
pompadour
thing on his head.
Yeah.
So I like part, like my heart says I love part 2. If I try to back that down, maybe it's an 8 out of 10, like you guys were saying, 7, 8 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10. I like them interacting with each other. I feel that's really cool. I like that they have different gadgets. Like they have the slime pumping thing. I like the black. They got different suits. Like there's like the part 2 uniforms with the black. I just think they updated the car a little bit. It's the kind of stuff that you like. You're like, oh, there's going to be more gear and there's going to be different things, and and it's that idea that there was a big Marshmallow Man. Well, how are we going to get something big in this one? And I don't know. Let's make the Statue of Liberty big and animated and like literally control. I'm like this is crazy. I thought Vigo and all that stuff was awesome. I love where he's taking the pictures, like, "Hey, Vigo, come on, give it to me, buddy." He's like, "Oh, come on," Oh, that is super funny. Oscar's in there, and he's like, he's making fun of the kid, and the big part in the beginning where he's saying the world is going to end, and she's like, "My source told me the world's going to end," and it literally is like that. That is going to happen.
Yeah, you know what year she picked, right? She picked 2016.
Oh my God!
All the way back in 1989, she talked about maybe she just meant the end of, or at least a bad setback for Ghostbusters. But
Yeah.
That is,
Oh, shh!
that is
I
so
didn't even
good.
realize that.
Wow.
Whoa!
And that was
she said
that was
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, yeah.
Oh my god! Well, but just like even what Brendan was saying, cause I did see Gremlins, but I did not see this one. My mom, for some reason, thought Gremlins was okay with like all the violence and all of that. But Ghostbusters, she knows the Saturday Night Live people, so she's like, "Oh, this probably is not going to be
Too adult.
appropriate."
Yeah.
And there's like the sex with the ghosts and stuff, and it's like,
Right,
and just like
You didn't know that. You didn't know the succubus joke.
Yeah,
Or-
I didn't write.
Yeah.
So it's like all these weird things. There's all these weird things you watch it now. And even the mortgage, he's like, well, you didn't even bargain with the guy. Everybody's got free mortgages. I'm thinking, shit, I didn't even realize that joke until I got a mortgage. And then I'm watching on Blu-ray. It's like 3 mortgages. I'm like, oh, fuck, 3 mortgages. That's brutal. I'm like, he's even bargained with the guy.
The interest rate alone is like $95,000.
He got some literally calculating. So, Faye, Phantom Outsider, thanks for coming in. Double C, Sherry, who else is in here? Tony.
Did you guys see the what's it called? The Hasbro Pulse Proton Pack they released? The one that's on pre-order. 500 US.
I mean, it looks cool, but
Yeah.
Sean and I have taken oaths that we cannot do HasLab. I didn't really take an oath, but I might take one. I can't do HasLab because there's a whole thing on that. It's a whole toy thing, which Brennan, I know you're not into the toy industry.
No,
stuff,
I think I heard you guys. I don't know the exact specifics off the top of my head, but I do remember you guys going off for like 3 hours against Hasbro or something. Like you guys are like very upset.
Yeah, actually, there's Retro Blasting, who Michael's a friend, or Clobby's a friend of Michael, who runs Retro Blasting. That there's some good videos, and I've liked them, so you can look in my thing. They talk a lot about the Hasbro Pulse thing. It's just something I just don't like. It kind of rubs me the wrong way and actually kind of pisses me off. So I'm just like not going to support it.
Me too.
WWA, everyone makes fun of me because I love Wonder Woman 1984. That's fine. They can make fun of me.
Oh, yeah. Well, you deserve it for that, man.
I do deserve it for that. And I did buy it on 4K immediately.
Oh, now you're really in trouble.
I would have bought the poster, but like $100, and I'm like, ooh, I can't do that. But I do have that as my background on my iPad. Okay, let's do favorite Ghostbuster before we. So mine's Egon. Brennan, who's your favorite Ghostbuster if you have one?
Obviously Venkman is a lot of people's. I like Venkman just because like his comedic timing and sense of sarcasm is what I joke around. Is like I generally ooze sarcasm and just like sometimes it goes over people's heads. I think I'm legit serious because it's just so ingrained. But honestly, it'd probably be Ray Stantz.
Nice.
Just I think Ray, he's just an honest dude that just loves ghostbusting and just being part of the team and the paranormal. Like that, obviously Dan Aykroyd is big into that in real life, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, just Ray Stantz, he's just love for the ghostbusting and just all around just nice dude. Just you think he wants the best out of everyone, wants everyone to be happy, just a generally nice guy. So I'm gonna go Ray Stantz overall, but Peter Venkman obviously for his dry sense of sarcasm.
Yeah, well, Ray Stantz it's like where they're talking. He's like, I think this building should be condemned. There's serious fatigue. He goes, the neighborhood is a demilitarized zone. He's like, this place is great. When can we move in? We gotta try this film.
Yeah, it's like the child enthusiasm of like the whole thing. It's really easy, really great. What a great character.
Yeah, he is great. Okay, Clobby, who's your pick if you can pick one?
I never had one really. I love them all so much, but I guess I probably go Venkman because I just love the humor and stuff like that. And again, because I love Egon and Ray, and I love Winston, but I think that
Winston.
they all.
Sorry.
Peter brings that fun to it, that the humor, especially since Ghostbusters does have a lot of quote unquote scare moments and things like that. The humor, those guys are funny, but Bill Murray makes it click the most. I don't know if I had to pick a favorite, but I love them all. Look at that. The great Eric Case here, the great Ace Castine.
Yeah, Eric is here. Ace is picking 2 people.
Ace. Yeah, he picks 2. Ace, that's a great buddy of mine. He's a superhero of mine. Hey, Ace, what's up, buddy?
Well, sorry, I got to interrupt, but I do got to give a shout out to my my cat back here, who is named Winston from Winston.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's a black cat. I'm like, my favorite movie is Winston, fucking Ghostbusters.
Oh,
Black cat. I'm
wow.
like, Winston. And Winston is obviously a great character as well, right? You can't go sleeping on him.
He is a great Phantom Outsider here too, by the way. Another good buddy.
Yes.
Great
Phoebe,
to
no,
see you.
she's not. We will once we get into the I don't want to do the spoilers and stuff just yet, but we're gonna definitely cover all of that. And she's a great character. Okay. So Steve, who's your
Venkman.
Venkman?
It's got to be Venkman. Venkman is basically the role of the audience. He's the one character who sits there and goes, like, I can't believe, like, this is ridiculous. Everything that's happening is ridiculous, right? Like, Egon and Ray are all in at the beginning of the movie, right? Venkman's the first guy who's like, this is nuts. This is ridiculous. And he keeps doing that throughout the film. Winston is a little bit like that, but he comes in later. Venkman's already secured that role by that point. And he's the guy who literally like takes that step back at every occasion and says, this is ridiculous. I can't believe this is happening. Like, this woman is floating over her bed, and I wanted to go.
Was she menstruating too? I gotta make sure she's menstruating.
What does that got to do with it?
Like, I can't help but be drawn to Venkman. He gets a lot of the great lines, and his reaction a lot of time is my reaction. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, so it's Venkman.
All right. Okay, Sean.
They're all great, man. You gotta pick one. I would say Winston Zegmore. I always gravitated towards him. He's always cropped out of the pan and scan version.
Yes.
But he's seen shit that turn you white, so whatever.
Look, I'm Winston in Ghostbusters.
I just like the idea of the average working man becoming a Ghostbuster. I know that's what the other Ghostbusters were supposed to be, but they're all scientists and all that stuff. And here's a dude trying to get a paycheck, and he's I know the original version was he was in the military and saw action, so ghosts weren't really scary to him. That would have been a great angle for him as well. But I like what they did with him in the movies, and especially in the cartoons. They always gave him hero moments in the cartoon as well. So,
Okay, so did anyone watch the cartoon? That we can talk about that quickly. I did watch Real Ghostbusters on TV a lot, and the Winston episode that I talked to you privately about was where all the other ones were put to sleep, I guess, by the Sandman or whatever it was. And Winston was the sole guy running around trying to fix everything. I thought that was like such a cool episode. But I'm not a super expert on it. Sean, I know you binged it all, so I'll come to you last maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked the cartoon a lot. I thought it was really good. And they had to call it the Real Ghostbusters because of the other Ghostbusters, which I thought was an okay cartoon as well. I had the sticker album. It was the Panini whatever sticker album, I think. There and I had the toys from it, and the proton packs would break. Like it was like the stream. It broke immediately. Like, it was the worst toy ever. You couldn't put the proton packs on if the stream was there because it was one piece. So, but whatever. I still have it. I never had the house, the firehouse playset, which would have been awesome. But Brennan, did you?
Yeah,
Did you watch the cartoon? Oh, there's the Ghostbusters.
One,
Yeah.
Oh, that's I had that. I'm pretty sure my parents have that exact one from the '80s back at their place. Like I had the firehouse.
Oh, awesome.
I don't know if they still have it, but I'm pretty. They said I talked to them a couple days ago, and they said they had like all this stuff just sitting in storage. I'm like, I gotta go check it out because that stuff would be awesome to have. Did I watch it? If you were to ask me like episode specific questions, not a chance. But I did watch it religiously as a kid. And if anyone cares, the actual Ghostbusters YouTube site page is posting episodes. I think weekly. New episodes.
They've got a long way to go.
But they're doing it, so which is cool. But yeah, I watched it. It was great. The fact that the first episode connects with the end of the actual movie, so everything is still flowing. There's still like some continuity within the cartoon universe and the movie universe, which is pretty cool. You don't see a lot of crossover with cartoons these days, where it syncs up, especially when the live action is first before the cartoon. But yeah, the cartoon's great. There's so many fun moments in it. Voice acting's great. But yeah, it's just a great thing to watch, and you can put it on in the background if you want. You're doing work, just put it on and just listen, and yeah, it's great. No, there's no question about that.
Yeah, it's got the color. It's colorful, but it didn't dumb anything down like some of these other properties where they made it so silly. It seemed a bit scary, and the ghosts looked pretty legit, like not too bad, right? Like,
Yeah, no, and it was treated like horror as well. I think Michael J. Straczynski was head writer for a while there, and it shows. There's a lot of clever ideas.
Is the cartoon considered canon by any chance? Does anyone know that?
It's its own canon because so it's complicated. There is a direct sequel to the first movie. There's a episode where right after they fight Gozer, their costumes have ectoplasm on them and form into like ghost versions of the Ghostbusters, and they fight. And there's another episode where they make the Ghostbusters movie that we know. So basically, what they're saying is that movie is an adaptation of what happened in the cartoon.
Oh, that's kind of
and there's a season that takes place. There's a season that takes place after Ghostbusters 2. We only know that because they mention the villains from Ghostbusters 2 every so often. And Janine has the Ghostbusters 2 hair, and she has a romantic link with Louis Tully. So there, it's its own continuity. You can watch those movies and watch the cartoons, and it dovetails perfectly.
It kind of makes sense.
But it's good that they made that effort to do that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, Clobby, did you watch the cartoon or?
I did not at the time. I wasn't. I was. I don't know what I was doing. I just did not. I never have. I've heard so many good things about it. My retro blasting buddies, my friend, he's a big fan of it. You guys are, and lucky me in the sense that unlucky that I didn't. But now that I know it's out there, and I hear you guys talking about it, you're making me want to go watch it now. I probably will.
All right.
It's 173 episodes, so enjoy.
Oh,
it's a
cool.
lot.
Is
that more than He-Man? That's more than
It's
He-Man.
more than He-Man. It's more than Transformers. It's more than G.I. Joe. It's more than most of them.
Think about it, that's a pretty decent run.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a decent run.
I gotta find it. You gotta go out and look for it.
Steve, did you have the toys and watch cartoon or anything? Or
No, I didn't. I didn't watch the television show. I actually was pissed off that they called it the real Ghostbusters. I'm like, Egon is not a blonde. That's not the real Ghostbusters. And
that's interesting,
right?
Just based on that, I might. I don't know. Like the Ghostbusters look to me was so iconic. Like I didn't want a single fiber change, a single hair change, any of that. So I didn't bother with the TV show. I think I caught parts of one, and it looked interesting. Like I'll say this: I've heard nothing but good things about it. I'm sure it was quite good, but at the time, I was like, no, it's not the real Ghostbusters.
That's very interesting.
That's weird. Yeah, I got tricked by the other Ghostbusters because it was in the TV guide.
Yep.
And so I got up early to watch it that Saturday, and we don't have internet or anything, so I'm like, this is the Ghostbusters cartoon.
Sean said TV guide. TV guide was a thing that people would get.
Yeah, sorry.
It's like the internet on paper.
Yeah, I have a buddy who has every TV guide from 1971 or two all the way up.
Oh, God.
Still,
okay.
everyone.
Wow.
Brennan also said the word paper. What that was, it was made from trees. You can see the evolution. Like Brennan still knows paper. We know TV guide.
I didn't even mention rabbit ears, but whatever.
I don't have it. Listen, we called it a converter.
Converter, yeah.
I still call it a converter now. My wife's like, it's a remote. I'm like,
Jen calls it a converter too. It's like that. Our generation just called it that, right? So,
I can't say remote. It feels weird.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Sean. Okay, so go.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I got up and I saw that Ghostbusters cartoon. And I was like, this isn't effing Ghostbusters. It's like they got these weird things and there's an ape. I didn't know about the live action show. Like I got it later on. It's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I have fondness for that other cartoon now as well. Like I don't have that kid like, oh, this isn't the real Ghostbusters, and they called it they called the other show the real Ghostbusters, showing that it was from the movie, right? I wasn't upset about the likenesses not being there. I think at an early age I knew that they couldn't get the likenesses because they're big stars, right?
Right.
But they had the song, so you knew it was Ghostbusters. They had the logo. They had the Ecto-1. So to me, that was the Ghostbusters cartoon. I just want to say one other thing about that cartoon. Like, that cartoon is what frustrates me about the franchise in general. It proves that you can do sequels for Ghostbusters. They had so many great ideas. Every single idea you can think of was in that cartoon. The first episode is clever. It's like these ghosts want to put the Ghostbusters out of business, so they form their own ghostbusting business. where they stage ghost attacks and stuff, and then come and clean it up, and then Ghostbusters have to figure it out, right? That's fun. That could have been a movie. There's another one called "You Can't Take It With You," where an old rich guy opens a realm into the ghost dimension so that he can put all his mansion and all his riches into the ghost dimension so he can have it when he dies.
Oh my God,
and then
that's
that
awesome.
screws up like everything, like the ghost world is entering into the human world. The Ghostbusters have to figure out why. That's a fun idea. There's so many great ideas that they came up with. They fought Cthulhu. They fought Harry Houdini's ghost, and they're trying to figure out why this ghost can escape their traps. Like, why is it? It's Harry Houdini. That's why. And Houdini's trying to lead them to a cold case, right, to solve that. There's so many great fun ideas, and they never did any of them for the movies. There's one episode called Hard Night's Day, which I swear to God they took the ideas from that and made Ghostbusters 2. And it's like a ghost that comes out of a picture and he's an old knight. No, it's crazy. But yeah, I always get frustrated when people can't figure out how to make new ideas and have the Ghostbusters fight new villains and have new situations out of Ghostbusters, because it was all done in the cartoon. And it just, I mean, are we talking about the movie yet? Or
no, we're not.
He's
Sean,
like-
oh my God, he's literally getting up. Like, it's like, I guess I'm not going to be standing alone on this stream. I'm very a bit shocked. Okay. Let's do one last thing about the video games. Then we'll do our quick space numbers only. Then we'll do spoilers. So video game, I don't know anything about it. So who knows about the video game?
Steve.
Yeah, I played it. I
Myself,
played it a bunch of
but
times.
yeah.
Clobby, did you play the video game or no?
Never. I
No,
bought it actually, never played it. Way back.
I bought Alien Isolation because Alien 1 is my 11th favorite movie, just like your Ghostbusters is your 11th. I was so gung ho, and I got a 65-inch 4K TV, and it's like I sit like 2 feet away from the TV, so it may as well be bigger than it is. And I'm like so excited. I'm like, never played it. I just play Street Fighter all day, and that's like the only game I ever play. So
let me just say this, and we'll go to Steve.
Okay.
The video game is special because everything was written by Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd, and the entire cast came back to voice their characters. Everyone, even Bill Murray, even the guy who played Peck, like everyone came back.
Yeah.
And it's for most people, it's an official Ghostbusters 3. Now I'll say this, and we'll throw it to Steve. Like, it still hinges on Gozer. But they do it in a clever way that's new and fresh. I find, compared to this movie. But I mean, you can watch it as they put all the cutscenes together and all the gelling parts together to form a movie on YouTube, so you can watch it on YouTube, and it feels like Ghostbusters, and it's a good closer to the franchise. And to me, it's officially Ghostbusters 3. So. Okay.
All right, so hold on, Steve, since you played it all the way, give me 1 second. Brendan, did you play it all the way through or just a little bit?
No, I beat the game. I beat the game when it first came out. I think it came out in like 16 or something, or around that time. I beat it. Then I have it in my Epic Games launcher. I have the HD version. I was actually going to play it today, but then I got tied up with things. So yeah, the game's great. You live like being a Ghostbuster, and that's something that I've always wanted. Back in like the SNES and NES game, those Ghostbusters, when I was a kid, that's what I pictured it as when I was playing those ghetto games.
You're the recruit, and
you're the
recruit.
recruit.
You get all the experimental stuff. Like they're like, oh, give it to a new guy, right?
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. If you have a chance to play it, or just download it somehow, or just do what you can, it's so good. It's such a fun game. You literally live being a Ghostbuster, which is something I think all of us would love at some point, right?
All right, so Steve, let's go to you then. So
what
are your thoughts on? So you really liked? I think you really liked it, right?
Oh, it was brilliant. I love that game. It was what Sean said. It's what you want to be, which is to recruit. You got to actually be a Ghostbuster. All the voice cast came back. They actually had other voice members for new characters, like Winona Ryder was a character in the game. They go back to Ivor Shandor, which it hinges off the first one, but it's sort of like I thought his story wasn't told, and it sort of delves into that a bit. You go into the ghost world, you do go back and you fight Slimer, and you do go back and fight the librarian from the
But they
it's
explain the
all
library
connected.
more. Yeah.
And it's a lot like a murder mystery too. It's a genius game. It's so enjoyable to play. If you ever want to be a Ghostbuster, this is the game you would play, not the crappy NES or 1 or 2. Both are crappy NES games. But this one is just genius. And you get to use proton packs, use the slime. It gives you the entire experience as a Ghostbuster. There's not, to me, it is a flawless game.
Okay. Clobby, do you have, or I don't know in the States if you guys have this, but we have something called like the Canadian Ghostbusters or whatever. And we see them at conventions. It's sort of like the 501st Legion, which is the Star Wars guys who are like, they're not just when people say, well, it's a cosplay. Mm-hmm. It's not cosplay. The 501st Legion is exactly Star Wars. Like it's like it's not cosplay where I put on a lame hat or whatever. But we've got the Canadian Ghostbusters, and it's exactly like they've got the full gear. I don't know if that's something that you guys have there, or have you heard of these guys?
Oh yeah, we have a gigantic contingent down here everywhere. Really, any con you go to. A couple of my friends are really hardcore for those. They have it. Michael, by the way, Retro Wrestling has a nice proton pack, of course, but he has. I don't know if he has the outfit. I haven't seen. If he has it, I haven't seen it. I've seen every video that he's ever done. So I don't know if he did a video on the proton pack or not, but he does have a one. I have a couple of friends who are really in that big gang, the one that we have down here in Louisiana. They're at all the cons. There's a ton of them, and they go to all of, everything. The cons together. They dress up. They have all the various different variations on the uniform. Yeah, so okay, big time down. It's big stuff. Ghostbusters. Obviously, it's not as big as the 501st, but nothing is. But it's big.
501st is pretty outrageous, and they go to all shows, like even little tiny dinky shows that Sean and I go to. It's like a flea market basically. There's always at least 2 stormtroopers.
But they do a lot of the same things. They're not quite as huge. I mean, 501st goes to charity events as well, and goes to the hospitals and stuff like that. Yeah, and those guys will do that kind of stuff as well. And so it's big.
Okay, so that's I wasn't sure because it wasn't a generic name that I'd seen these guys like. 501st Legion is like that's just like a generic name, but I think these guys are called the Canadian Ghostbusters. So I guess it's like wherever you go.
Different places like this in Louisiana. Yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say I thought they were sanctioned by the studio because when the 2016 Ghostbusters happened, they announced that they would like officially license like chapters throughout North America and stuff. Because they knew they're cosplayers and stuff, and they can use them to go to hospitals and visit kids and things like that. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I did not see the 2016 movie. It wasn't any out of major protest, really. It's just I wasn't going to go see it in the theater because Sean and we used to sell at these cons and toy shows and stuff, and I always concocted like this mega thing for my Ghostbusters 3. I shared some ideas with Sean, who had his ideas, and we sort of came up with Ghostbusters 3. We came up with sequels to movies, and our Ghostbusters 3 is awesome. I'll tell you right now. But anyway, and it could have been done. Really, it could have been done. So when the 2016 came out, I just felt kind of disheartened. I thought, this doesn't look very funny. It's not connected, so that's kind of a fail. And I don't know. I just don't care, and I'm not, and is it because it's all women? Well, maybe a little bit in the sense that it changes the dynamic of the friendships. But also I think that it's like the idea that the 4 first Ghostbusters were just kind of losers. They've got multiple mortgages on their house. They owe money. They live in a dump, right? It's like Winston doesn't care about anything except for a paycheck, so he'll just go along with it. And they're these heroes. They get all heroic and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go stop Gozer, yay! And then the next shot is them on the stairs and they're all out of breath and they're losing. It's like, well, how many floors is this? Like, what floor are we on? He's like, okay, I'm gonna throw up. And then they're like, we're gonna do this thing with the females. I'm thinking, well, this isn't a girl power moment. Like, this isn't like where you took Rambo, who is a big, strong, muscular guy, and then you make a girl Rambo and say, well, women can be just as strong and powerful as men. But the Ghostbusters were kind of losers. It's like, did you wanted to make 4 female losers? I don't understand. It's like
So did anyone see this movie? I did.
The only knack that the Ghostbusters had was catching ghosts. That was their one thing. So they're like, how can we take this? And this is Peter, right? How can we make this into a business? Because they've just been fired, right? What can we do to capitalize on this? I don't think that movie has any of that. I haven't seen it. Who has seen it?
I've seen it.
Me.
Seen it, Brennan?
Yeah.
Sean, you saw it, right?
Yeah.
Out of
Clobberin-
morbid curiosity, I had to watch it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
me
Clobberin
too.
and Steve, you guys, I'm assuming you didn't see it, right?
Nah, never been that curious.
No.
I've seen enough people talking about it. That's not my Ghostbusters. I look at that and go, yeah, I mean, you know, perhaps if someone twisted my arm and said how great it was, but you didn't see a lot of that, did you?
Nope.
You just got
No.
Yeah.
And I think the people that were loving it, I think they were loving it for the wrong reasons.
Definitely. It was let's face it, it was all about the agenda.
It's very contentious. It's very contentious, and there's a lot of controversy. When I see a movie that starts to get marketed not on the basis of the plot or the characters or the actors, and you start getting into anti-movie marketing, where it's like, oh, you must, if you don't watch it, you must be a misogynist or whatever.
Right.
That is when I automatically assume the studio knows it's going to flop, and they're trying to do everything they possibly can to mitigate the damage and pass it off to somebody else. Pascal can be like, it wasn't us. We made a great movie. Look at Vulture. Look at New York Times. Look at all these publications saying Mary Sue. All these, they're hyping it up. No, the movie flopped because it's a bad movie. It had nothing to do, in my opinion, with the gender swap. It was just poorly written. It went from something to be like an homage to almost a shot-for-shot remake of the first one, with everything that made the first one great ripped apart out of it and bastardized with horrible improv.
Right.
The comedic timing is bad. The pacing is, everything about it is bad, and it has nothing to do with it. The women on an individual level are great. If you take them out, even as a character, there's some things that can take out of it, but overall, garbage, just complete garbage.
Yeah, they need focus, and they need a script. Like, my problem with it was none of the four are individual characters. They all do the same sort of mugging and BS, and it's like in the original Ghostbusters. Yes, they did a lot of ad-libbing and stuff, and a lot of stuff was on the cutting room floor, but they knew who the characters were, and they knew what the scene was they were in and what it had to advance. It's like they gave Ernie Hudson that line, if someone asks if you're a god, you say yes, which is funny and in keeping with the situation at hand.
Right.
That's the genius of the ad-libbing. That's because they knew what the script was, they knew what their characters were, and that's direction. And this movie didn't have any of that. They fart around, they screw around. I don't know who's the weird one because they're all weird. There's the zany one and a zanier one and a zanier one. There's no real story going on, and there's no philosophy behind the ghost busting. It's like in the original Ghostbusters, they capture them and they put them in a containment unit. They don't destroy them or anything. In this one, they have weapons that just shoot at the Ghostbusters. Shoot at the ghosts, and it's like, what are you doing? What is a Ghostbuster then? I don't understand this. Do you have a containment unit just because the movie had one in 1984? It's like, what's going on? There's no real sense to anything. Nothing's funny because it's too overwhelming. There's no underpinning philosophy. There's no character development. It's just a mess.
There's no charm. There's nothing.
Likes that movie. I saw a panel with all women recently, and they're all freaking out about how terrible it was because everyone is up here and there's nothing to control it,
Yeah.
But kudos to Ivan Reitman to control all these egotistical SNL guys.
That's true.
In the first one, right?
They didn't get Chevy Chase in there because he's a bit hard to work with.
Yeah.
The 2016. They're doing backflips. They have like Sean was saying. They have like dual wielding pistols.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You're doing backflips and rolls and like combat flips. I'm like, what is happening? Spoilers. They shoot the end. They shoot they shoot the logo in the dick. That's how they beat the guy.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, guys? Come on.
I can't remember her name. Says, shoot him in the balls. And then,
come on, man.
And it's one of these things where, like, this isn't Monster Squad where the Wolfman literally does have nards.
Yeah.
In this, like, does that ghost have genitals? Like, I don't understand. It's, like, so stupid.
Yeah.
That's really awful.
Yeah, that wasn't symbolic at all, was it?
No. If they just respected the license and took what made like Sean was saying, they clearly had no idea what made the original series great. No idea. Paul Feig has no clue what is going on. He's good at what he does, like the gender swap thing. Like he took like I Spy or whatever, it was Melissa McCarthy, and like Bridesmaids, which is a gender swap of Hangover. Like that's okay, but you're taking a franchise as loved and celebrated as Ghostbusters, and you completely rip it apart. You have to expect that people are going to be upset. And like I said, nothing to do with the women themselves. It's how they were portrayed in the movie and the disrespect that Paul Feig and Amy Pascal and everyone at Sony, they didn't give a damn about they just wanted a cash grab. They wanted a cash grab, and when they saw it wasn't going to happen, they flipped the narrative and made it that, people sitting in their parents' basements, misogynistic men, don't give a crap about the movie. And that's when you see, when I saw the marketing for Afterlife, and you heard what the Jason Reitman was saying in media scrums, and you heard what Bill Murray was saying with Dan Aykroyd, their tone of voice and the way they were talking. Well, we'll get into obviously the movie and how our we feel about it, but it was a complete 180 from what we saw with the 2016, the way it was marketed. Everyone that I saw, they were hyping it up. They were happy.
The way it was marketed.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
It didn't look funny, and it didn't look neat.
Yeah.
It's the same thing I've already seen, except unfunny.
Yeah.
It's like every other remake. RoboCop, Total Recall. It's like, this is Total Recall, except no Mars and it looks dull. It's like, okay. RoboCop. There's no cool satire. There's no there's no violence. It's like, okay, well, what is this movie? It's just this Ghostbusters.
But
look, they're all girls.
The thing about 2016 was that the trailer leads with, do you remember the trailer? It begins with a little text that says like, 1984, 4 men. So it's calling back to Ghostbusters, but it's not in canon with this movie. The marketers knew what Ghostbusters was, but like the people behind it didn't, right? It's like, why tell me about 4 men in 1984 that fought against the forces of evil when that has nothing to do with this movie? It's because as a marketer, that's what I really want, something that ties into that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely deceptive
marketing. Is Kevin Smith listening to any of this?
And there's something frustrating. So Leslie Jones came out when Afterlife was starting to get like positive buzz. She came out, she's like, why aren't they making? Why isn't the 2016 canon? Because it's a freaking remake. It's not connected to anything. You literally remade the movie. You can't call a remake part of canon. You're not going to call the remake of RoboCop canon. You're not going to call the remake of Total Recall canon from the first Total Recall. You can't. It's impossible. If you want to do another offshoot and have Ghostbusters 2016 ×2, go ahead and spend $120 million and lose more money.
Yeah, you spearhead your own project.
Yeah, but you can't be upset that it's not connected, because it's not part of the universe. It's a separate thing. It's a completely separate thing, which I guess is okay. I still think it shouldn't exist to begin with. But the fact you just got to ignore 2016. It's its own separate property. And everything else from Ghostbusters, GB1, 2, and then now Afterlife, we're considering that canon, plus, I guess, some parts of the cartoon and the video game.
Extreme Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's do our space, just the numbers. And once we get just the numbers, we'll know where we're at. It's like 12 Angry Men. Let's get the preliminary vote out of the way. Yeah. And then we'll do spoilers and stuff. And then, because I know some people who haven't seen it wanted me to, do the spoiler thing. Like I'm okay with spoilers. Like I watch spoiler reviews before I see movies, and I know Sean spoils everything. Sean knows what the 15th Ghostbusters movie is all about. He's already spoiled that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with So the way this works is that space is SPACE. S is story, P is pacing, A is the artistry, C is the characters, and then E is the enjoyment. So story is easy. Everything gets a ranking between 0, 1, or 2. So if you say the story is 2 out of 2, you're saying the story was great. 1 out of 2 means it was like okay. 0 means it wasn't that good. And you could do halves if applicable. If you want to say 1.5, if you don't want to give it the full 2. The story that is the story. The pacing is obvious, right? The artistry is sort of like the look of it, the music, effects, if applicable, like shots, like could you tell what was going on, that kind of a thing. And then the characters is like obviously the characters, were the villains good, bad guys, were you into the heroes, that kind of thing. And then the enjoyment is the intangible thing of a movie, like where you might say, I think like the story is not very good and it was kind of slow, but I kind of like this movie. It's a lot of fun. Or you might think it's cheesy, like a lot of cheesy horror movies are going to get a 2 out of 2 for enjoyment, just because I'm like, oh, that was a cool movie. Yeah, the story's crap, but I don't care. It was a lot of fun, stuff like that. So that a movie does have to have some intangible qualities that you're just going to say, I like this anyways, even though I know it was bad, like Wonder Woman 1984. Okay. So Sean, and I'm just gonna ask you guys for your number out of 2, and I'm gonna mark it down, and then because I don't want you to tell me why you got to that number, we'll cover that when we get to it. Okay, so I just going by the way I have it written here. So Sean, what do you think for the story?
0.5.
All right, 0.5. Steve?
0.
0. Wow.
Oh
my gosh. Okay, Brennan, what do you think for the story?
wow, I feel like assaulted from that, Stephen. I'm going. I'm going to go with the 1.
Okay, Clobby.
I'm gonna go with the 1.2347 1, just a little over a 1. But I've never done this scale before. Yeah.
Yep. 1. Okay. I did 0.5 for the story. That was my biggest thing. Okay, so for the pacing, I gave it a 1. Sean?
0.5.
0.5. Oh, wow. Steve?
1.
1. Brennan?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 1 too.
Yeah. Clobby?
I'm gonna go with a 0.5.
0.5. So yeah, so everyone thought it was a bit slower. Okay, so the artistry, I gave it a 1. And I'll get to why I didn't give it higher. Sean?
I gave it a 0.5. I don't care about the small town. Small town's aesthetics.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I'm gonna be like the most. Wow. This is crazy. I thought I was gonna be the lowest for sure. I thought everyone was gonna beat me up. Okay, Steve, what do you think for the artistry?
1.
1. Yeah, Sean, come on, man. Okay, we're gonna get to it. Brennan, what do you think?
I'm gonna go 1.5.
Yep. Clobby for the artistry, so music, look of it, just like kind of like the shots and the action.
Yeah, I'd say 1.5.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have to challenge Sean. He's laughing already. He knows he's gonna challenge. Come on.
You thought you were gonna stand alone.
I watched the Fountainhead. I told you I was all pumped up. I'm gonna stand alone on my principles. it's like now I'm gonna be fighting against her. Okay, the characters, I gave it a 0.5, and I'm gonna explain myself big time on that one. Sean?
I gave it a 0.5 as well.
Oh, okay. Steve?
1.5.
Oh, interesting.
Wow. It's high.
Steve, well, but I'm willing to swing on some of these. I could swing up. Brennan, what do you think for the characters?
I think this was my toughest. The toughest category that they looked at. I'm gonna go with Steven on this one and go 1.5 as well.
Yep. Clobby for the characters.
I will agree with Brandon and Steve. I'll go 1.5.
Okay. My math, it's gonna take me 5 years to calculate this because my math is horrible, but okay. And for my enjoyment, I gave it a 0.5, man. Sean?
0.5 as well.
Wow. So oh my God. Sean is the low. Steve, what was your enjoyment?
0.5.
0.5. All right, Brennan.
0.5. You guys are crazy, man. I'm gonna be the one on the outside. I'm going 2. I'm going 2. Screw you guys. I'm going 2.
I know why you're going 2, and I know why a lot of people are high on this. Unfortunately, I have a lot of points that
for enjoyment. Yeah, I'm going definitely 2.
Yeah,
I can see your guys. I'm interested to see your guys' point of view.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good to see, man. I can't wait for this discussion.
Clobby, what do you think for your just enjoyment? So this is just intangible. You liked it or you didn't?
I'm going 2.
2. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Clobberin, you're the man.
We're in solidarity, brother.
Okay. So. All right. Wow. We got the top. This is like the divide right here. So let me make sure I did my math properly. So I'm giving it 3.5 out of 10. Sean, you're giving it 2.5. Is that correct? Steve, you're giving it 4.
Yeah.
Brennan, you're giving it a 7. So that's good. And Clobby, you're giving it 6.5. Does that sound right? 2, 3, 4.
I mean, I've never done this scale before. If you'd asked me, did the normal parlance, what would you give it this out of the scale of 1 to 10? I'd have probably told you I'd give it close to an 8, 7.5 to 8, because I like it.
7.5 to 8. Okay, so see, this is why I developed.
Well, I don't
this
understand
thing.
this. What you're doing here is so new to me. I don't even.
Yeah,
It's Greek to me, bro. It's not geek. It's Greek to me, but it's.
Oh, this is. No, I love.
The
Jay's,
reason-
Jay's thing is great. I love this. I love this breakdown. It's great.
yeah. The reason I
it's
did
fun.
this is to focus yourself on because what would happen with me is I would come out saying, you know, I love this movie, and people are like, well, the storyline sucks. I'm like, I don't care. And then I thought, you know, if I'm going to do reviews, if this helps me focus my thoughts to say that, look,
Okay.
Army of Darkness to me is 10 out of 10. I don't care if people are saying, well, you know, it looks a bit cheesy or the story wasn't
I love that movie.
original. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's in my top 10. And so for me, I'm like, that movie just transcends the rating system. But if I have to rate it, I can rate it, and I can legitimize why I can give it, like, let's say an 8 out of 10 as a regular person. So Sean and I really beat this up. Steve, you're coming in the middle. Now, based on this system, just so everybody understands as well, if you're giving everything a 1, that means that everything is good. A 5 out of 10 means that you can watch this movie, have a good time, and be like, that was a fun movie. Most movies should be between 4 and 6. Anything between 4 and 6 means like, look, this was a fun movie. Because if let's say the effects were trash and it looked poor and it just didn't look very good, and you give it a 0 for the artistic value of the film, but you really enjoyed it, the characters were cool, you know, the story wasn't too bad, that could still get like a 5, right? Like, depending on how you rank the rest. So 4 to 6 is not bad. So what we're basically saying is that Brennan and Clobby, you're a little bit above your average movie. You think it's above average movie. And Sean and I think it's just slightly below an average movie. And Steve is sort of like saying, yeah, you know, there's something there.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is very interesting. So I didn't think it was, I thought I would be the lowest for sure. But this rating system might make sense. This actually might make sense with what we gave it out of 10 based on what my hypothesis was when I came home. I'll tell you what my hypothesis was. My hypothesis is that
Well, we're getting into spoilers now. We're
not
spoiler
spoilers,
territory?
not spoilers.
Okay.
My hypothesis is that people that really love Ghostbusters are going to rank this high. Hold on. The people that really love Ghostbusters and really pay attention to the nuances of everything regarding Ghostbusters are going to rate this low. and then everyone else will fall in between, which sort of, see, like Sean and I are just a little bit more nerdy about how things are in Ghostbusters, and we'll get to it. Steve is sort of like, yeah, Ghostbusters is okay, but he's a little bit below. And then you and Clobby seem to be a little bit high because you're like, yeah, Ghostbusters is awesome, and yeah, we got to see them all fight, and this is cool. And it's more of like a little bit more emotional. I could be wrong. That was my hypothesis before the stream, where I was thinking, like, I wonder where everyone's going to fall into and why they would fall into a certain category.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense, but we are going to explore it. We're going to explore that in the spoilers. So, guys, fair warning, we're doing the spoilers now, big time. And we're going to spoil the crap out of everything because we have to. You can't talk about this without spoiling the crap.
They got their warning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5, 4, 3,
Let's
2,
go.
1. Go. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Okay, who wants to start? Do you want to start on the highs or the lows?
Let's go. We'll go one lowest and then the next highest.
Okay, so Brennan, out of our space thing, you were the high. So what are your thoughts? Like, why was it so high for you?
For the story,
Just you could just say just in general, just to like
the movie in general.
Yeah, just the movie in general.
I went into this movie hoping that they wouldn't F it up. They would respect the license and do right by everyone. I didn't know what direction they would go with Harold and stuff.
Yep.
And leaving the theater, I was very satisfied with how they approached. They could have obviously done better. There's no question, but I think overall, if you take it as a whole, I think they did a decent job respecting license. They could have fleshed out the characters a little bit more and done a couple more things here and there, but overall, yeah, with the story, yeah, it was good enough for me. It's kind of like the Force. It reminds me of the Force Awakens, where they take what they've done.
I just wrote Force Awakens down while you were talking.
What do you
Yeah.
think that garbage?
It reminds It reminds me of
that trashy movie. Come on, man.
no, but
Well,
that's
hold
no.
on.
The Force. You can say it's trash, but I think Force. It is good for what it is, for bringing in a new generation of people to an older franchise. I know. Sean's getting like whatever. I know.
This is it.
Wow,
This is it.
dude.
And I wrote it down for a reason. This
I think
is The Force Awakens, but yeah.
I think it's the Force Awakens for me. And like again, I have no problem with the Force Awakens. Yeah, you couldn't have been better again. But I think for what it is, it did a good job, and that's how I'm relating to Afterlife. Is that it's taking what we know. Even taking the whole like plot of the first movie almost, the same enemies are involved, and they just kind of swapped up some ghosts, Slimers now the metal eating guy Muncher, blah blah blah. So that's essentially what Afterlife is. It's the Force Awakens of Ghostbusters, and I think if you're taking it from that, I think it does what it does, and Sean's fucking loses his mind.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
so see, this
Man.
no, this is exactly what I thought. To me, it's Force Awakens, Transformers, partially Casino Royale. This is the movie. This is what happens where I'm watching a movie
That would make it a bad movie, and I didn't think it was bad. But go ahead.
Yeah. But like where I'm watching the movie and I'm like, I can foresee that people are going to really like this, but I see that this is not good at all. See, and I agree, it's Force Awakens, but I absolutely despise Force Awakens.
Yeah, I know you guys hate it. I know you guys hate it.
It's a horrible movie, man. Horrible.
And I despised it with Sean and Steve, all three of us, immediately upon credits. I'm like, this is garbage. So, like, anything after that, and the thing is that, like,
Filth.
I'll get into my actual details in a bit. I'll let everybody else kind of talk, and just like Transformers 1, so I think, like, everyone really is high on this Afterlife movie. But I think if you actually watch it and actually pay attention, I'm going to point stuff out, pay attention to what's happening. It's actually not doing justice to the Ghostbusters. And I've got lots of points, but I don't want to monopolize the whole thing. All right, so Clobby, you were pretty high. What were your thoughts just in general?
I went in with zero expectations. I'm not even one of those people who was even given hope by these trailers. In fact, the opposite. You know, a lot of people that I like, some really cool people out there with channels and such, were pretty pumped up by the trailers. And I'm like, I didn't like Stranger. I'm the one who didn't like Stranger Things. The people who like that thing, I couldn't stand it.
I like season 1.
I watched it for season 1 and didn't like it, and that was it. There's nothing. The only thing more foul than the Force Awakens is The Last Jedi. So that doesn't even enter into my mind anyway. I don't know what you guys are even bringing that thing up for, but it's nothing like that. Even if I dislike this movie a lot, I wouldn't go that far down into the sewer. But what I'm saying is, so I said, nah. I said, I just hope it's okay. I mean, I was kind of like, blah, I'm going to go watch it. I was not really excited. And because I was expecting it was going to be very 2021. And I thought that whatever problems it has, which is pacing and some of the, which is probably my biggest issue with it. These are actual characters. These are characters that I can enjoy. It's not Ghostbusters at all. It does not reminiscent of Ghostbusters at all. It's like more of an 80s, 90s kids adventure. But some of those were okay. None of my favorite movies or anything, but it had that feel to it. And then because these kids were written fairly well, I can go along with it. And it did do what I needed to do about right towards the end. In fact, at the bit where they went back to the farm for the final confrontation, I was getting very worried. I was having a decent time and enjoying it. Decent, okay. And then I was thinking, you know what? These bastards are not going to give me what I want. I was almost there. Like, this is taking too long. I'm impatient. I think they're going to screw us, and we're not going to get it, because I didn't know. I knew nothing. And then they didn't. And then they gave me what I wanted. I know these guys are old. I know we can't have a whole movie with them again. I know all these things. I was already very touched by the stuff with Egon's ghost that was going on with this, and the stuff that we were starting to learn about Egon that, that was vindicating him as not going crazy, not being a bad guy, that we knew that way it might happen. But until we actually see the guys again, and then everything that happens after that, I was very happy with, because we're never going to, these guys are not, we can't de-age them. I know technology can do it. We're never getting them back again. A proper send-off, just a bit of a, and again, it's a cliche. People keep using it, a love letter. That's kind of all. I was looking for a decent, enjoyable film, and I wanted something to give me a little bit of that. Just give me those characters one more time. Talk about them one more time. It took a little bit long to get there, and I was actually concerned that they would. But once they got there, when we see them again, and the way everything goes after that point, it really got to me. It made me feel good. I mean, this is not a perfect film. It's a very flawed film. And I don't care because of that last bit, that last half, 20 minutes or whatever, including into the after the credits. So I forgive it a lot of its problems for that. I must admit. It's pure, illogical. It's all emotion at that point, and I fully admit it. And that's not usually me with movies.
Yeah, Clobberin, I'm with you on that one, man. I'm not coming from a place of rational thinking. I'm coming from a place of emotion. 100%. No, 100%. No, he's Clobberin. Yeah, Clobberin nailed it 100%. I agree with pretty much everything you said. Yeah,
I was manipulated, man.
Yeah,
I admit it.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
They used me. They used me, buddy.
I'm not gonna. Okay, look, it's not the Force Awakens. That's really it's not that bad. But I'll just say a couple of quick points, really quick, and then we'll let the other guys come in. We can all agree that I thought Phoebe was the best character. Easy. She's
gone. She's great. She's great.
And that was a surprise, by the way. I did not expect that.
That is a surprise. Yes.
Hold on. Did they tell us who Egon's wife was, or
no?
They didn't say that.
They didn't say it, right? So nothing's been. I don't want to be like an idiot and be like, everyone knows this obvious fact. But from what I understand, no one knows.
Yeah,
no, we don't know. They didn't explain it, which might have been a good thing to try to explain.
Yeah, if it was Janine or somebody like that.
Right.
Yeah.
No, they didn't say. Yeah, they didn't say. Okay, my perspective is this. This is my perspective. Egon goes to Ray and says, "Oh, the world is going to end," or whatever. The three Ghostbusters don't believe him. He then steals their equipment and goes off on its own. And Egon's like, guys, the world's going to end again. We didn't defeat Gozer. Oh, you're crazy, Egon. Or we've just been through a million things. We know ghosts are here. Why don't you believe me? He goes off on his own. His daughter says he's trashed the whole movie.
Yeah.
Everyone in town makes fun of him. He's a loser the whole movie. And at the last 5 minutes, he's vindicated. Why does he need to be vindicated? He is to me, they absolutely took my favorite character and ran him into the ground for 2 hours, and then 5 minutes at the end, it's for Harold. Not really. You said he was garbage the whole movie. They just bagged on him. Oh, crazy old man, crazy old, he's an idiot. They call Ray, and he's like, that son of a bitch, Egon. Would Ray, the heart of the Ghostbusters, really do this? Like, the three Ghostbusters abandon Egon to let him go off on his own and die? This is not good, guys. This is like the first half. I'm like, this is awful. And then
now you made me hate it.
Yeah, Jay's right. It was very frustrating to hear the amount of shit talk to Egon. It was. Yeah, it was.
No, you're right.
It was bad. It was bad.
Lazy writing and shorthand parlance for pathos. And it's bullshit. It's your typical formula nowadays to just trash the characters, make them go through a bad time, like Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi, right? It's like, why would he make those decisions leading up to Last Jedi? That doesn't sound like the character, and this doesn't sound like Egon, and this doesn't sound like the Ghostbusters, but it's a contrivance to get there. And then he's redeemed at the end, but like none of what got there made sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Now, next time I ever watch the film, I'm going to watch from that point on when we see it.
And I feel bad.
And I'm not even kidding.
No, and I feel bad because a lot of people love this movie, and I'm like, and it is hard. Like, look, it's really, he's at the end, the four of them are together and all that, and like, this is so cool. And I'm watching this thing, but you trashed Egon for 2 hours. I couldn't stand his daughter. I hated her.
Yeah, I didn't like her either. I didn't like her.
Why did we all like
Agreed.
Phoebe? We all liked Phoebe. You know why? Because she was excited about ghostbusting stuff. That's what we are. We were excited. We found a proton pack. Yeah. We found the PKE meter. Yeah. This is why she's a good character, because we're living through her being, yeah, she's so cool. But they're trashing Egon. Why did they have to? They could have just said, Egon, in the last minute, thought something was going to happen. He ran to the farmhouse. He tried something and died. He didn't get a chance to tell the other Ghostbusters.
Or he took it on himself to protect the other Ghostbusters. That would have been better.
There could have been there are ways around that, yes.
Yeah.
And then it's the same movie. And then when they called Dan Aykroyd, they called Ray, like, Egon's dead? You know what? He disappeared a week ago. We can't find him. He went off grid. It's not like Egon to go off grid. What could have happened? Maybe he thought that his daughter and granddaughter were going to get killed, so he had to do this thing. Oh my God, he sacrificed himself? We got to help this guy. Instead, it's like, yeah, F you, you son of a bitch, Egon. Okay. Yeah. Does that sound like Ray Stantz to me? The heart of the Ghostbusters? You got to try this pole. This place is great. Is that Ray Stantz? I was like, this is awful. Anyway, sorry. Okay, Sean, Steve, go ahead. Or
I'm out of this panel, man. This movie, I hate this movie now. I'm out of here.
Thanks for ruining the movie.
That's what we do, man.
Ruiner of movies.
I like to redo my space. I'm going zeros on everything.
No,
Yes,
no,
I hate it
no,
now.
don't do that.
Yeah, I hate everything now. I hate it.
So who do you want to?
Okay, let's do Steve and then Sean. I want Sean to wait because he really wants to speak, so I want to make him wait a bit. So Steve, go
say
ahead.
everything I want to say anyway.
The worst
but yeah.
viewing experience I think I've ever had in my life was watching Gus Van Sant's Psycho remake, which was a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. It was the worst experience of my life because it was the epitome of wasted time. This is not that bad, but it's close. As far as the story goes, they go right back to the same things that they did before. It's literally when I was promoting what I wrote on Movie Elite, I said I'm going to review the Ghostbusters remake. Oh, sorry, the new Ghostbusters movie.
Right.
It's felt exactly like a remake. It exactly felt like a remake, and it was a remake that made no sense. Gozer's not a ghost. Why are they going to trap a god in a frigging trap? That makes no sense to me. Gozer does not look good. She does not look like the 84 one. There was something about her that just turned me right the hell off. And she asked, "Are you a god again?" She's seen these guys. Like, she knows what the... Why would she ask that question? Anyhow.
I didn't like that
Doesn't
at
make
all. I thought
any
that was
sense.
awful.
The entire movie makes no sense. They tried and sell me this romance between Finn Wolfhard and this girl. It was garbage. I didn't care for it. I liked Phoebe.
And
Paul Rudd
podcast,
was okay, but he didn't get
Podcast
enough
is good.
I like podcast.
Yeah, podcast is great.
Podcast is good. I did get emotional over the last 5 minutes, like you guys did, like seeing the four of them shooting the proton packs. I did get a tear in my eye. I won't lie to you.
didn't.
But I did think later on that the part that touched me the most was going back to the original. They did not make the new characters enough that I cared about all of them, even Phoebe. Okay, and she was the thing keeping me anchored. The thing that touched me the most was the 84 guys again. I've seen, you know what I mean? Nothing new was created from this. Every emotional tremor that came to me was a hearkening back to 84. That's it. Nothing new was created other than the Phoebe character. She was good, but everything else was crap. I went back and looked at Jason Reitman's filmography after this because I had a thought, and I've discovered something. Every Jason Reitman movie I've seen that he's touched, I have not liked. And I think I now get the fact that I just don't like Jason Reitman as a
I don't think I've
filmmaker.
ever seen any of his other movies. What are they?
He did Juno.
I like
didn't care.
Juno.
Never
I
saw it.
didn't care for that at all. I thought it was crap. He did
Up in
he
the
produced
air.
something-
Thank you for smoking. I'm on IMDb right now. He's done a bunch of shit. Tully, director credits. Yeah, Ghostbusters, Home, whatever. Casual. The Office, couple seasons, a couple things. Thank you for
He
smoking.
was
Yeah.
executive producer or something that I thought was garbage. I can't remember. He produced some stuff. Everything that was there that I saw did not like. He did that Up in the Air or something that looked like boring as piss. This guy is not up to his. This is not up to his father's standards. Sorry, Ivan Reitman was a great director. This guy is not Ivan Reitman. Sorry. It's just a very paint by numbers, emotional hit on everything that I liked about the 84 one, but you gave me nothing new, and that's why this movie gets the rating I gave it.
So you were in the kind of I think the best parts that were the new parts was everything to do with Phoebe and Egon's ghosts interacting. I liked all that stuff, playing chess against them and everything. I knew it was Egon instantaneously because he's playing chess, right? So what's frustrating about this movie, and then Sean, you can take it away. What's frustrating is that I can see glimmers of really neat things. It's almost like they really wanted Phoebe. Phoebe is the best. She's the best character, including the original Ghostbusters. She's my absolute favorite in this movie. I think she's a superstar. We'll see where this actress goes. She was in a bunch of other things that she was actually young Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
she was
Captain
young
Marvel.
Carol,
Yeah,
she was young Carol Danvers, but she was also in what was she just in that I just liked as well? Crap, I
She's in
forgot.
Handyman's Tale.
No,
Look at her thing here. Where's the
Something
film?
more recent. Damn, I just remembered. I forgot. I totally blanked on it. Anyways, whatever. I liked her. And I liked her because I like the characters that are excited for the things in the movie that are supposed to be exciting. She wants to learn about science. She wants to get, the proton pack. She gets a PK meter. She's like, oh yeah, and she's getting stuff. But the problem is that she's getting excited for stuff that I've already seen a bunch of times, and they're slowly revealing things like, look, it's a proton pack. Yeah, I've seen them 100 times. I don't need half an hour to set this up. I know what it is. Like, I thought they would show me something new. I can't stand when they bring old villains back. That always irritates me. Gozer, it's like, but Gozer was defeated. Marshmallow Man. The Marshmallow Man was the thought of Ray Stantz. So how is there a Marshmallow people? Like, Ray created that in his brain, and Gozer replicated that to destroy everybody. So how is there Marshmallow people? There's Marshmallow people because people thought that was cute. I know, but it doesn't make sense.
They made 1 million toys out of that for this new movie too.
For sure, and it's like, but Ray created that. Gozer says choose the form, and Ray creates that. So how did, like, maybe it's still around. I don't know.
The only way that can work, Jay, is that if Gozer and Ivor and Sandu, they remember the events of 1984. They remember the events, and they're just bringing that thing into the new. But that's still it's still a lazy copy. You're right. It's still a lazy writing. Yeah. It's lazy writing. You're right. It's lazy.
Where's the statue? The Statue of Liberty. They ignored part 2. Part 2 is officially ignored because even though a building being blown up might be forgettable years later, but 2 generations later, I'm pretty sure the Statue of Liberty coming into animatronic mode and smashing the dome, like an ectoplasmic dome, is not going to be forgotten too easily. And so that means that part 2 is ignored because the daughter or the granddaughter, nobody remembers any of these events. So I'm like, okay, so this is what this movie's telling me. The Ghostbusters were trash in 1984 because everyone forgot them very quickly. And Egon sucks because he went off on his own, and Ray hates everybody. I'm just like, what is this? This doesn't seem like. I understand Phoebe's good, and I don't care about her brother at all. All his entire side plot of getting a job at the burger joint, whatever.
Yeah, they could have cut that out. They could have. That was unnecessary. Unnecessary.
That girl would never date that guy. Let's face the facts. There's no way that guy's getting that girl.
They could have cut out all those scenes of him trying to get the job and being at the job. Cut those out. Add like that 30 minutes combined and put it at the end, and then flush out the ending better.
Yeah, no, all right,
better battle, or the montage. They missed the montage. Sorry, Sean, go ahead. I know you want to friggin' let loose.
Well, you all said what I want to say, but I'll just say this: on the good side, I like Phoebe. Everything they did with her, they handled her very, very well. As someone who is intellectual and wouldn't be freaked out by ghosts, they really established that too. Where she sees the chess pieces moving, she goes, "Well, this is happening," and she wants to figure it out rather than freak out and run off. I like Podcast. I didn't think I would. I bought the figure and I was like, this guy's name is Podcast? What? And it's like podcasting isn't even like a trendy thing anymore. But and he's running around with like old school equipment and stuff. It's weird. But
his one subscriber.
But yeah, he's very Ray Stantz. That I don't know if they showed him the movie and he mimicked like 1984 Dan Aykroyd, or that's just the way he acts. But I got a very heavy, like enthusiastic Ray Stantz vibe from him, and he's really cool. I liked him. Flynn Wolfhard or whatever the hell his name is. What's his name in the film?
Wolfhard.
Trevor.
No, it's Finn. It's Finn. It's the guy's name. Yeah, in the movie.
No,
Trevor.
like it's Trevor. So yeah.
Oh, you bought that one too?
I bought them all, man.
I can't find
you guys are the worst. You guys are seriously the worst. This movie's garbage. Let me buy everything.
2.5. I bought them all. No, like Trevor and Lucky. I know what they're going for with that. It just wasn't as compelling as the other story they were showing with Phoebe and Podcast. And by comparison, their story could be cut out. But like, I get what they were trying to do. Like, it's like first love, and like it's all adorable. But I just don't like those two compared to Podcast and Phoebe. So whatever. Paul Rudd and what's her face, I could care less. I don't understand what's going on with that Walmart walk. It's like you were making fun of it like instantly, J-Man.
No, that was so funny. I thought that was very funny. And I went to Walmart the next day and walked like that just to look
I brought that up to my girl. I'm like, why is he walking like that? What a weirdo.
So funny. No, look, that was funny, Sean. Just admit it. Just admit that was kind of funny. That was funny.
It's memorable.
I laughed too. I was so next to him.
The two central pillars of this story are one, make Egon and the Ghostbusters sort of out of character, and they don't believe like the smartest guy in the room when he says that the end is coming, blah blah blah, and the other one is everything is Gozer. It's like you can't fight anybody else. It's got to be Gozer and Ivor Shandor, and my problem with that is there are no stakes because the thing is they already defeated Gozer. So I know they can do it again. And it's like, well, why give me the same thing again? It's like Egon is telling everyone that the end of the world is coming. If he just said, you know what, but it's Gozer again, we already defeated him. So there's no. I'm not sitting there going, you know what? I don't think they can defeat him again. It's like, of course they can defeat like freaking Gozer. They already did it. If they just went with a new entity that the Ghostbusters hadn't really seen before or something, or maybe they saw in their research and then use that phone call of Dan Aykroyd to talk about that would have been a bit better, a new threat. And if they just reframed Egon going off grid rather than everyone not believing anything that the smartest Ghostbuster has to say is, and just having the split sort of amicable, and they don't know where he is, they want to find him, that would have been a bit better. That would have been that would have been a longer way, especially like swapping out Gozer for like a new threat would have been way better. But having Gozer, a character that they've already defeated, there's no stakes. It's the same thing over again. Now, as soon as they introduced all that, it's like, okay, well, there's got to be two dogs, and then the androgynous person has to come and ask people if they're God, and blah 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 blah. We've seen it before.
Yeah, we've seen this
it's like
already.
They can only fight Gozer apparently. That just really, really ruins it for me. And honestly, I thought that the small town aesthetics would have been fun, but like I didn't really care. I wanted a big city with a lot of people chanting Ghostbusters. That's just me,
That was one of the weirdest things for me, that it was in a small city. That's kind of one of the turnoffs for me as well. Sean.
Yeah.
Like they could have, like Sean, you're right. They could have done something with like even Evo Sandor. They could have done a lot of things, and why they went back to that same
He
well.
just gets
So the
split in
video
half.
game-
Yeah.
So what's the point of them?
Yeah, I had said the video game, actually, of course, it retread part one, but it did it in a fresh, fun, cool way. That Ivor Shandor was the villain. Spoilers for anyone who wants to play that game. It's like 15 years old or something now, but it's like it was done in a fresh way. He was the villain. He possessed the mayor. It's a fun, fresh take on the same concept. Here it's just, here's the androgynous person with the same weird outfit again. Here are the dogs.
Right. And I thought
Here's the
Gozer
same
could look like
lines.
whatever they wanted.
It's like, come on.
Can't Gozer look like whatever they want? All
Yeah.
right. Let's say hey to Marc D with the Seattle.
Hey guys.
Hey, Marc.
Hey, Mark.
Welcome.
Marc.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bud.
Sunday night's family dinner night, so it took. I thought I'd be here earlier, but
That's okay.
Is it U.S. Thanksgiving for you guys, or is that the next week?
Thursday.
next
Thursday,
yeah.
okay.
But I got kids home from college and stuff, so so we're hanging out.
You're not in the U.S., Brennan?
watching the Cowboys lose. Yep.
Well, me,
Where's
no.
it?
I live like maybe 5 minutes from Jay. Like I'm like 5 minutes from him. Yeah,
I did not know that. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So Brendan's my god brother, like my godfather. I don't know what else to call him. He's my
godbrother,
godbrother's son. So it's just,
Okay.
just to come out. I don't know if godbrother's a thing.
No, it's a thing. I think it's a thing.
It's a thing.
If it's not, we're making it up. Whatever.
And it's apparently not nicer than you, Jay, who's being mean to this movie. But
I'm being so
Well-
mean. Well, Sean's being the meanest.
Go on.
Sean's being the meanest. I don't know what.
I'm
Sean's
really
not
offended by
even.
Sean's
Sean's not even done ripping in, so he's just getting started.
I'm really offended by Sean's use of coherent logic to defend his points.
yeah, thanks. Hey, Mark was picking on me for ruining a movie for him recently. And
Yeah,
now
you know
you're
what, Sean?
doing
Get out of here with your
now
freaking
you're
irrational
doing it,
thinking.
Jay, man, damn it.
But
Hey,
I know
I did
you
some
know.
ruination too. I ruined pretty good.
But I know. I mean, I'm not to rehash. I'm sure you guys went over a lot of things. I'm just hopping in, but I did really like the movie. The nostalgia factor. I like the girl as the actress. I thought she was, the young girl. There's a lot to like about it. But it also, when I was watching the movie, I thought was thinking to myself, Star Wars Death Star syndrome, in terms of exactly what you were just saying. With they've got to always find a big bad to defeat. So when you're watching the Force Awakens and I turned to my friend. I'm like, didn't we
Another
see this
mention of
movie
that movie.
before?
Yeah.
But of course,
people stop mentioning that terrible movie. God.
sorry. But
No,
I mean, you get, but but there were parts in there that overcame that. And I really liked it in terms of, the plot is rehashed and it's, Gozer again, like you said, I wish they'd come up with something different, but the elements were there to make it an even better movie, because I thought the girl was really well done as an actress, and finding the card, it hit all those nostalgia beats at the 2016 movie. And as I'm watching it, I wasn't really that in tune on the internet to what was going on. I'm like, well, they're not even mentioning the original Ghostbusters. Like, why aren't they like going to say they're relatives or godsons or goddaughters or something, or some kind of connection? Then they show up in the movie as like different characters. So you're like, what the hell is going on? So, but overall, I like the movie, and I did get the, I got this guy at the movie theater too. So
You got the pop.
I
popcorn.
didn't put popcorn.
Oh,
Links
wait,
up.
you got that at the theater?
Yeah,
AMC had a promotion.
Oh, what the hell?
That's a popcorn holder.
Only thing I got
That's
from Ghostbusters
crazy.
is this.
Yeah, so yeah,
Nice.
Oh,
you can
nice.
open it up because I'm a toy guy
That's
too.
awesome.
So
Brendan,
That's
you
like
got
the only toy. I told Jay when I bought it, I'm like, dude, I bought my first toy in like 15 years. He's like, which one? No, the neutrino one.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
that's awesome, Mark.
Oh shit, that's pretty cool.
popcorn.
So you're supposed to put your
Wow.
popcorn in there. I don't think anyone put popcorn in the thing, because they give you the popcorn separately.
That's
I
pretty
know
cool.
It looks so dingy.
Oh, and the lights
You
are
have to put
go
your
off and
food in.
everything. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're getting screwed up here, guys.
I know.
Yeah,
are.
we don't get very many. Anytime they do any of these little things, we get very crappy versions. Like we got those
Yeah,
little
right back.
toppers on our drink,
the toppers, yeah.
which are not all that great. Like they're okay. It's, I don't know. I think the thing for me is this weird. I don't want to say Force Awakens again. The reason Force Awakens was brought up in my mind in my notes. And same
You
with
said this about the
Transformers.
same thing? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and like with Transformers Part 1, even Casino Royale to an extent, Force Awakens, these are the movies where everyone seemed to really like them, and I was watching a different movie. And that's why I threw this one in there, where I'm like, people like saying, oh, it's great to see Ecto, it's great to see the car and the proton packs, but I see them all the time. I watch the Ghostbusters movies all the time. So for me, there is no nostalgia. I'm like, yeah, I just saw the Ghostbusters like a week ago before seeing this movie, so I've seen that already. Like, and it takes about an hour to reveal all of these things that we have already seen before, and we know how they work. We know what they can do, and then it's Gozer. And I'm like, but I've already seen Gozer and the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper, and then they literally have the same clothing. Like she has the same outfit. And I thought, like, you couldn't even come up with a new outfit? Like, and I'm just thinking, what's new in this movie? Phoebe is new, who's really good. She is the best in the movie. But then everyone else who's new is like, okay. Like, Podcast is good. And
Yeah, Podcast is
Paul,
good, yeah.
I like Paul Rudd. So those three are fine. But everyone else who's new, I either didn't care about or I disliked. Obviously, the original Ghostbusters are awesome, right, to have them back. But just saying that Egon's an idiot and everyone makes fun of him for 2 hours, and the Ghostbusters themselves, like didn't believe him and like shunned him, or it's like, what is happening? Like, I don't know. When Ray said, "Oh, Egon, that son of a bitch," I was thinking, "Oh, why? This is not."
Yeah, that's completely out of character.
That was a bad line. Yeah.
You needed to put more nuance on that if you were going to throw something like that out there and give a good reason.
No, Jay,
Like he
Jay, you
spent all
nailed
the
it.
petty cash on Chinese food or something.
Yeah.
No, Jay, you nailed it earlier, man. Like your like rewrite of that plot. Like I think Sean, you said the same thing. You can just rewrite it and have the same things happen, but not have Egon come out as a complete asshole. You guys nailed it. Yeah, and that's right. It was very frustrating to me as well to hear, like you said, 2 hours of shit talk to like one of the best Ghostbusters of all time.
That was it was terrible. But he did,
I
like
can see the
someone
people in
did
the-
point out, he did try to drill a hole in his head though.
Yeah, that was kind of. I love that.
Would have
It's
worked
like-
too.
it's
Yeah,
like-
like
I could
it's
see
not
like
me.
the people in the town would think he's nuts. I could see that, but not.
That was fine.
Not the Ghostbuster. Yeah, not the Ghostbuster.
Right.
Like Aykroyd's line. You wonder if some lines have been cut out or changed. Maybe they took some of that nuance out, but that didn't make sense to me unless he had done
Right.
something really
Have
bad.
have an excuse for it if you're going to do it. I mean, I don't like the bridge between them and them breaking off. But usually, if you do that, you have to add a lot of context to it. They did not at all.
Well,
Yeah,
and-
like they
and
just
I-
said, "Oh, he's just bad." Like what I would have done was had all the Ghostbusters together. They all had kids, And Ray, Sean and I talked. This is what Sean and I talked about. Like Ray is still trying to run the business, and I was thinking Pete adopts
Oscar, yeah.
Where's Oscar?
And Pete says, Ray, can you let Oscar, give him a job? He's a low life, give him a job or something. He's doing nothing with his life, right? It's like, and it's like, oh, he's following your footsteps, ha ha ha, And then meantime, like Ray's trying to keep it going, but there's no ghosts around anymore because they've stopped everything. Egon's inventing all this weird, crazy shit, and it's just not going anywhere. He's trying experiments and nothing's working. And
like they could have. They could have set it up if you guys know there was 2 end credits, right? There was the mid end credits and the end credits. Yeah. Well, the mid one where Vakeman and Weaver are back, like they could have tied that in and like you're saying, Jay, bring Oscar back, say, hey, he needs a job or something, blah blah blah, set that up so you have like the links between the second movie. Like they could have done so many things. You know what? Yeah, you're pissing me off about this movie.
Stop right now. You're lowering my score.
You can tell nowadays there's a giveaway that the movie's going to be bad and disappointing, and that's if there's a deadbeat dad. So Force Awakens, Han Solo was the deadbeat dad, right? In the latest Bond movie, Bond was the deadbeat dad. He wasn't around. And this one, Egon was the deadbeat dad, right? His daughter didn't know who he was, blah, blah, blah. Like, as soon as you hear deadbeat dad, you got to run for the exit, man, because that's your indicator. Deadbeat dads are popular in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, Superman Returns.
Superman Returns.
Deadbeat dad.
Yeah, I think the new characters are okay, but the old characters are made to not look good just by not going with Egon. Like, I just don't see it happening. And I don't like when someone has saved the world a bunch of times and then they're being treated like crap in the movie by their daughter or son. I hate that trope. It's just like, oh, my dad was never around. Okay, if your dad was around, you wouldn't be around because the world would have ended.
Yeah, True Lies.
Yeah. Right.
True Lies. She was a bitch to freaking Arnold, man. Yeah. She hated him. Yeah. But he's running around freaking saving the world.
Yeah.
Good point.
I hate that. It's like, oh, you weren't around. It's like, okay, well, I'm sorry, Gozer was going to eat the world, so I wasn't around or whatever. Like, I just
that was kind of neat how he set up the whole mechanism of like the PKE meter tripping and then the friggin' plasma beams going in. That was neat. That's why I gave artistry like kind of high because the actual set is bland because it's like some hick town in like Ohio. It's actually filmed in Alberta, but same thing. So like the color palette's boring. Like there's not a lot of lights and stuff. But when they did have stuff, they nailed. Like the terror dogs were kind of cool looking. Yeah. The ghosts were they were. But
I like Muncher. He's cool.
I hate
the framing was nice.
I hate the deadbeat dad crap too. But I'll say this: when you mentioned Force Awakens, their deadbeat dad was never redeemed for it. He was just went off just back to be the same old bum self. At least, and I'm 100% with you. At least if we find out that Egon wasn't being one because he was just some ne'er-do-well or some bum who just wanted back. Right. He was doing the right thing. It's just that I would have done it totally differently, as you said. But at least it turns out he wasn't a deadbeat dad. He was saving the world.
Right.
So
and they treated his character with such love in the end too. With the I guess we're spoiling here. I'm assuming at this.
Oh no, we're having the spoilers.
Yeah. So I mean, with that scene in the end, I mean, my eyes weren't dry at the end there either. So that's the contradiction where they're treating his character with such love. And, if you got a dad that's can't be there all the time, at least, he's there some of the time. So it's like, he totally abandoned everyone. They couldn't have lived on the farmhouse with them. I mean, why couldn't they? I mean, the kids were living there now. Why couldn't they have lived there? And then who was the dad to the kids, in the movie? They kind of mention him one time. I think Paul Rudd asks about him. Yeah. And she kind of says he wasn't that bad. And then who was the mom to
never know. But at least Han wasn't out. I mean, if Han had been out doing something important and they thought he was a deadbeat, but he was actually doing something noble, that's a little bit different. Egon, he's not a deadbeat dad. That trope's there, but it's a red herring, and that is a little bit different than the filth of Force Awakens.
Yeah, no, this is not Force Awakens level, obviously.
Yeah.
This is definitely not Force Awakens level garbage where it's like, everything. Because that entire movie's a literal shot-for-shot remake of the original movie. The reason I brought that up, or actually Brennan brought it up first, but the reason I reinforced that was that it's the type of thing where I'm seeing all these things that other people did. Because when we walked out of the Force Awakens, the three of us did not like it, and a lot of people did. And And everyone talks like, oh, it's so cool. It's like the Millennium Falcon. I'm like, yeah, but like, why doesn't he have it? Like, what is going on? And it's like, Han Solo stood there and died like an idiot. And I'm thinking, he fell down a pit. I'm like, and I literally, there's this guy, I can't remember the name of the YouTube channel now. Crap. I can't remember this guy's name. He's like a film critic guy. And it's like, he goes,
Crap's the name. There you go. That's the name.
Yeah, Crap's the name. Yeah. It's like Han Solo died like villains die, like falling into, it's like Skeletor and the Emperor.
Yes.
Like they all die like badly where they fall down this like and this bottomless pit. It's like, yeah, that's reserved for villains. That's not reserved for like the hero of your trilogy. It's like if you watch, and this guy said, he goes, if you watched Return of the Jedi and then you watch this movie right after, you're like, what? Like your kid would be like, Dad, what? Why is Han Solo a complete piece of trash in this movie? I don't know, son. Ask Mr. Abrams what's going on. So, not to bring it back to Star Wars, which it always.
Well, yeah, you've got Luke Skywalker as your best bud, who's like probably the most powerful guy in the universe, of the galaxy at that point, and you can't find your beloved spaceship. I mean,
right?
Someone steals it, and Luke can't find it or help you get it back, and then you're the ultimate swashbuckler pirate. So that that didn't make sense, and the whole rehash of the planet, like the Death Star syndrome, looking for a good.
Yes, but here it's bigger.
It's bigger.
But these go to 11. In 1983 because rehash of the Jedi, as I always call it.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. My one negative: I love the Ewoks. I'm not entertaining comments.
You love Ewoks?
I love Ewoks. I'm not entertaining. I'm not entertaining feedback on that.
It's not debatable on J-Man's channel.
Ewoks are awesome.
We were that age, so
next week on Clobberin time, J-Man gets beat up about 9 p.m. Central Wednesday night.
Oh my god! Because I get beat up for a lot of stuff, right? So I'm okay with getting beaten up. But my one smidge negative is like, oh, it's the Death Star again, and like everything else, I think is like so good. I love the emotional thing. I know Han Solo kind of is not doing anything too amazing in that movie, but like Luke and like that does give me a tear. Luke and Vader in their big final confrontation, to me that's awesome. The Emperor is such an evil scumbag that I can't stand it. Like I remember as a kid, I'm like, I can't even look at the screen. I just hated him so much.
Makeup,
and now I realize that he's awesome because he's just like, you're an older, when you're older, like, oh my god, the Emperor's like so cool.
One thing you have to say about this movie we're talking about here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We're debating and its merits, and we're talking about just it artistically, whether we like it or not, and that's refreshing because with most movies, you don't get to do that anymore, whether you like it or not, and with the way Hollywood is. So that's one good. Yeah.
And can I ask all you guys? I know Steve and Sean know this. In our showing, and Brennan and Marc and Club, you let me know. Oh. So before the movie started, I forgot to mention this in my review. Crap, I really wanted to mention this. And I was very happy with this. Jason Reitman addresses the audience.
Yeah, it came. Yeah, we saw the same thing.
You saw that? Okay.
Yeah.
Could you guys see that?
I think it's a Cineplex thing, J-Man.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I didn't see it.
Jason Reitman, I've never seen this ever, and I might take a point up on my score because of this. Jason Reitman comes on the screen and he says, "Hey guys, I want to talk to the audience of this movie. Thank you so much for coming out to the theater and buying a ticket, because I know like times are tough and people are nervous." He goes, "But thank you, I appreciate it." He goes, we want you to watch us on the big screen, and I want to thank the theater owners and like the people putting the popcorn in the bags.
Wow.
It was a legit thing.
They're taking a risk for you, right?
It was legit. Yeah, and this wasn't Jason, obviously not, since I guess you guys in the States didn't see it, because this was a legit thing. He wasn't being a goof. He was like, "Thank you guys so much." And I thought, wow. And I actually turned to Sean. I was like, I really appreciate this.
He mentioned IMAX and Cineplex, so I think it was made specifically for Cineplex and IMAX.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But Sean on video, it was sincere.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys think like the heart of Ghostbusters was in this film? Like over like the essence. Obviously, if we're going down to the essence of the first film, where it's like, oh, a bunch of scrubs get kicked out of university, start a business, and become Ghostbusters. But do you think like the essence of Ghostbusters was captured in this film as a whole. Yeah, it's very flawed. Like, you guys are breaking this down great, and it's actually changing my mind on a lot of things for a good thing. Because I like to hear different perspectives on stuff. But do you think overall, like, the heart, like, was this? Did they write this out of malice, like 2016, where it's just you knew what they were doing? No. It was malice. It was against everything. The heart was still there. It just wasn't applied properly.
Yes,
that's what I think.
That statement.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think they use modern day tropes. Like, we've talked about the deadbeat dad trope, and we've talked about, like, everyone has to hate the hero trope, and rehashing exactly what the plot of their successful movie as the plot of your own movie. That's a trope as well. All of that could have been changed, you know. But yeah, the heart of Ghostbusters, like, I don't know if Phoebe and those guys understand why they're catching ghosts. I just they find the stuff and then they're driving around trying to get Muncher, but I don't know if they know why they're doing that.
What I think what they needed, though, that this movie needed, was a decent montage of them learning how to use the equipment. Not just that one shot where she blows up the thing. At that point, she's already proficient. Like, the first movie, they blow up the freaking the ladies' cleaning carton, and they're like, "Oops!" They destroy the entire ballroom.
They destroy most of that town.
They destroyed the town, the ballroom, everything. So this lady,
consequences for the town destruction too. It seemed, after the fact.
Yeah, that sheriff was really pissed off. So.
Well, Steve mentioned this early before the movie even started, saying he was questioning the idea that the kids can automatically use the weapons, but I guess Egon's spirit was really helping them out. Do you think that was satisfactory?
Was steadying her hand, but they're not good at using the stuff like in that movie.
No.
They
do. She destroys.
Yeah, she's destroying half that town. You know,
right?
Yeah, I think that to answer Brennan's question, I think that Podcast and Phoebe are on the right track. I don't think that Trevor and the other girl are. That entire storyline just felt shoehorned in because we needed a romance, and it didn't work. Like, when she got turned into a dog, I did not care.
I didn't care.
She's no longer a dog. I did not care again.
They could have cut those two characters out, to be honest. They really didn't contribute much to the plot or story or anything. Like, well, I'm sure they're nice people in general, but they didn't contribute to the story. The
one thing I did like about it though was that I was waiting for them to bully the guy or torture him or be the typical new kid in town. Yeah. So at least they didn't follow that trope. I was waiting for him to to get teased and bullied and stuff. So there wasn't a great chemistry between the two. When some movies and you have that first look into when Spidey sees Mary Jane that first time you got that look where that glint in the eye and that those two are meant to be. You didn't really get that, and it kind of I know they kind of got to do that, right? They got to throw in that romance or some kind of teen love or something. I guess the kid is pretty popular from Stranger Things, so it didn't. Really, you guys are right. It didn't really add to the movie, but I didn't think it totally tanked it either. But it could have been a little bit funny or had some more funny scenes at work or things that they tried. But
it would have been fun too if there was motivation for them to do the Ghostbusting. Like, to my earlier point, like if that podcast guy came up with the idea, like, oh, let's charge money for this. It's like there's hauntings around. Let's try and do something out of it. Like, something like that would have been fun.
Or they discovered
maybe it
the
would have been a
plans.
3-hour
Maybe.
movie. So yeah.
Or like podcasts that discovered the plans from who was the guy in the crypt? What was his name? The evil guy that was
Shandor. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So if he had been, if you had expanded his backstory, which made it longer, but had them maybe add 5 or 10 minutes to the movie, but discover what he was planning and what what he was doing and why he was there. They didn't feel that either. Yeah,
Marc, you're right. And they brought back to YouTube videos. They could have, Marc, you nailed it. They could have had maybe a 2-minute scene of one of the characters or two of the characters going through a YouTube video and watching a recap, history from 1984 or whatever, or the history of the Ghostbusters, the Forgotten Heroes or something, right? They could have just have a little splash of that title of a YouTube title and watching 3 seconds of video, and they could have been now we understand. Now
they were already doing that anyways. So
what were you gonna say?
That would have helped.
Yeah, I think my problem with the two other characters is just that, to me, you either have to earn your way onto the Ghostbusters, or it has to be done in a really clever, funny way, like how Winston came in and he was the only, he's doing the ad, and they're like, oh, he's got his resumes. He hands him the trap. He's like, that
he's hired immediately. Beautiful, you're hired. Here you go.
That was brilliant. Like to me, they were just handing out uniforms to whoever was there. That's not earning your way onto the Ghostbusters. That's
and
not.
They all fit.
Yeah,
And
they all fit.
Yeah, where the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, they fit, but at least they had a Nestle's Crunch Bar wrapper in there.
Yeah.
That was fun.
They did.
It was unstable molecules on their uniforms, right?
There's a lot of member berries. What was your favorite member berry? If you guys, I know you guys didn't like it, but what was your thing? You were like, okay, you know what? That's pretty good.
The eyeball ghost, because like no one knows what that is.
Oh, that's from the cartoon. Not from the cartoon.
It's from the toys.
The toy.
The one you squeeze. The one you squeeze it, and you squeeze it, and the eyeball comes out.
And the eyeball comes out. Yeah.
Yeah. The symmetrical book stacking was kind of cool. I'm like, oh my god, symmetrical book stacking. That's pretty good.
The books.
The best might have been when she figured out how to use getting the Muncher ghost out of the trap to get it to the weapons. Like that was a pretty cool scene.
That was fun.
See, okay.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, dude. There's a lot of cool little things like that. See, that ghost is brand new. That thing where it's like they can't get in. It's like, wait a minute, let's let this guy out.
Podcast comes up with that.
Podcast comes up with that plan.
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
See how smart podcasters are?
Yes, thank you, podcast. And see, there's sprinklings of this. Like, I think they had something going. It's not Force Awakens is awful on all counts. This has something going for it, which is why I'm frustrated more with the idea of doing the lazy parts, because I can see that you have good characters that you can establish. The Stranger Things guy and the girl, they could have been, I didn't hate them. I just was just like, okay, they could have been better. And then the whole thing with Phoebe and podcast, and even with Paul Rudd, first of all, who showed Cujo. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Summer teacher of the year, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Easy. And then what was the second movie he watched? They watched
Child's
another
Chucky.
Chucky, yeah.
Oh, man.
Part one, too.
It's part one, yeah. So
And
there's a
none of
lot
the kids
cool
complained on Facebook or something, right? Or Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the parents would be like, oh, why are you letting my kid? No, there's a lot of cool stuff like that where there's little things where you're like every so often you'd be like, oh, that's really cool. I like the stuff with Egon's spirit helping her out. To me, that was some part in there with Phoebe and him connecting. And okay, you know this was my favorite part of all of these things. And it's no reason, but I really like it. His glasses are exactly the same as hers. That was the only part in the movie, and I'm getting goosebumps now.
I'm getting goosebumps too. Yeah.
That's the only part in the movie where I got a little bit emotional, where it's like, oh my god, I thought that's really nice, and that doesn't have anything to do with nostalgia and trying to. It's like, look, it's like she's the new Egon. She's smart. She's like the spiritual successor. I like that she's nerdy and all that with her hair. I love her hair. They're like her squiggly hair and all that. That was my favorite part of anything to do with like an emotional connection to that character. That was my favorite. So
Jay, do you especially you guys that are hating on the movie, which is fine. It's not saying hating. You bring up valid. You bring up valid reasons. So you're not really hating. You're bringing up valid, like rational thought. Do you? Where was I going? Do you think that the shit talk of Egon for like 2 hours is like reduced a bit by the actual redemption arc? Like, does the last 15 minutes? What percentage do you think that it takes away from the actual 2 hours of constant Egon is garbage person shit talk? If you're saying it's 100%,
None, because
the 15%, the 15 minutes will take off maybe 20% of the hate. Right. Or you're saying it doesn't make a difference. They talk shit, and the redemption is irrelevant. It doesn't make sense. What do you guys think?
No, because I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to be a redemption at the end.
Right.
That's why it's so unnecessary to do it throughout the whole movie. Like, It's like, who are your characters? Like, is this really necessary to do? Are you just trying to inject false drama into your movie with lazy writing? That's what I feel was happening there. It's like everyone hates Egon, hubris and pathos, and then at the end, we know now that he was telling the truth. Well, I know that as an audience member.
Right.
I'm not stupid. I've seen movies before, So you just drag this guy through the mud for like an hour and a half for no reason, just because of your silly, lazy writing. So no, it doesn't. For me, at least.
No.
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's 100%
See,
fair. That makes
I-
sense. Yeah.
What Sean said, he said it best. It doesn't redeem because I saw it coming. And I don't really feel like, okay, so Egon was right. What happened at the end? Like, I don't know. Like, he's gone now, unfortunately. So even though his good name, like, he's gone. He's, that's the end note of him, of the Egon character. Like, they're like, oh, hey, but like, it's over, Johnny. Like, and I knew it was coming, so it didn't really do anything for me. I'm in with the camp of Sean. Like, it's lazy writing. You don't have to drag him through the mud, and it's very uncomfortable when you have to do it that long, like through the majority of the movie. Like, it's unnecessary in my opinion.
Do you think
Yeah,
it's
like
a reference to? Because I thought there was a falling out between Harold Ramis and Bill Murray.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do
there
you
was.
think it's like a reference to that? Perhaps is that what inspired this in the script, or?
Oh, the
It's
rift
just
between Harold and
speculation.
in real life.
In real life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
that's
I
what
think they
I'm-
made up. I think they made up like towards the end when he was like sick and
Actually-
he's dying. They came. I think they had like a truce and they just like, okay, let's bury the hatchet.
I think they cleared things up a little before you're saying. It wasn't that last scene where we finally find out that everyone starts finding out he was okay. Phoebe finds out
Right.
fairly early,
Yep.
Mhm.
at least.
Do you think?
Yes.
Do you think
I do
Harold's? Sorry, Clobberin, continue. I cut you off.
No, oh no, I was just gonna say, but I do agree. It absolutely should have been completely a different way in terms of finding. And if you're going to find a better way for them to be split up and him to go on his own than they did,
Mhm.
and them just being pissed off at Egon, I don't like it. I don't think it completely damages the film, though. And like I said, I think at least he really wasn't a bad dad. At least unlike Han, at least he really wasn't. And it was a fairly early on we start to see that Phoebe starts to discover that was not the case. And so there was a progression of it. So I'm agreeing, but I'm not saying it destroys the film for me. But
Do you think it hurt? It hurt.
Yeah.
Helped or was like neutral for Harold's legacy overall as like a Ghostbuster? I don't know. I think it's
They
kind
all
of
know.
it's hard. It's hard. I think the first, like you guys are saying, like Sean and Stephen and Jay, like you guys just the damage that they did in that first hour and a half, hour and 45, just bragging on them. I think I'm definitely switching my thought pattern on this. That it's like I think it's disrespectful now at this point.
I think one thing that was different would have been if, like in the original Ghostbusters, the first movie that's that everyone thinks he's crazy, the mayor, like Mr. Dickless, thinks he's nuts. That's okay when when you're in as an audience, you believe the Ghostbusters. I mean, that's the commercial. We're ready to believe you.
Yeah.
You as an audience member and you love them and you believe them. So it's okay when everyone else doesn't like him. But the conflict that I didn't like was, here Dan Aykroyd at the jail call.
Yeah.
That was where it kind of
Yeah.
flips. So even though they're kind of saying he's crazy and nuts, and you're like, well, where are the other Ghostbusters? You don't really know there's a problem or something happened. But then after that phone call, that line there, like, that, and then when he at the end when he says, "Oh, I'm his granddaughter," and you kind of see the pained look on his face. I think if they'd just taken that line out, like and made it some
because
like
they didn't explain it.
Yeah, explain it or
Right.
say, he took all the money and did this plan or did something, to, you have good friends, you fight sometimes, you're falling out, and then you come back years later and you say, what were we fighting about? I don't even remember what that was.
It doesn't. I don't know why the split has to be hostile and a big explosive like anger bomb. Like so, I mentioned Extreme Ghostbusters before. When that show came out, no one liked it. And only because it didn't have the full cast and everything, but it was a direct sequel to Real Ghostbusters. But the premise of that was ghostbusting. Like there aren't that many ghosts anymore, so like there isn't enough to run a business anymore. So everyone just splits, not because they're angry at each other, but because they're going on to new jobs and stuff. And Egon is the only one who stays back because he wants to experiment more and take care of Slimer and everything. And then when ghosts get up again, then the class he's teaching in college, he just recruits those students to be Ghostbusters.
Right.
But that I accept more than this. I don't know why the split has to be everyone's angry at each other and they part ways. It doesn't serve anything. It's not dramatic. It's just
tired also.
because it's out of character, right? Yeah.
And it's tired, Sean, because it's done. It's overdone, but I do but Phantom Outsider does make a lot of good points about what he's saying that, once Ray, they're angry at each other. Once Ray learns that he's dead, it really, the look on his face, it hurt him. And then he got everyone back together to go, look into what he was doing. But I can't argue with you in the sense that it is. I think my biggest problem with a lot of what you're saying is, it's what they did that I'm agreeing with you on, is it's just tired. I'm sick of that kind of. Everything has to be a big bad breakup. Everything has to be a big, two friends. While it does happen with friends have spats, and it's used in drama and it's part of drama, it can be overdone, and it was not well done in this. I do it.
Well, what Phantom is saying is like he took all the equipment and traps and gear. He could have just left on his own and built the stuff himself in the basement. He didn't need to take all that stuff. They could have just eliminated that entire plot line. Just say he just left. He wasn't up for it. He's like he retired and he went and left, and he can build all this stuff in his basement if he wanted to.
I think the thing that doesn't fit is that like Egon is saying, "Oh, this is going to happen, and here's my plan to do it," and no one believes him. It's
right.
That's the worst. Happen. They just want Gozer.
You just want Gozer, yeah. And you
explain it. Someone else is going to try to bring Gozer back again in 2021 or in the future. The future.
We found before, could do it again. It's like
if he's found evidence and stuff, like Ray should auto believe him.
I don't.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm thinking I'm not
especially
bringing Star
Ray.
Trek into this, especially Ray. But Spock's missing after the cartoon series with motion picture and all that, right? And then he comes back. They don't say, "Oh, Spock, you're a piece of crap. You left us. What the hell?" He's like, "Well, we all split up." You could have done that. You could have, like what you're saying, Sean. It's like they're all went their different ways. And then Egon calls us like, "Guys, oh my God, I think Gozer might be back. I found this whole mine, and 2021 is a date, and that means it's coming up. We should do something." Okay. Instead, it's like, oh, he's a trash character.
But if you really want to separate them and still have your movie, then say that Egon did all this to protect the other Ghostbusters.
Right.
If he took the burden on himself,
That's
didn't tell
very
anyone
good
what
point.
was going on.
Yeah, they could have done that.
It's a heroic.
That would have been
moment.
so much better.
And you
They
still
would say,
have your movie.
right? They're mad at him, but he let them be mad at him, and then know it. That's actually would have been better.
Phantom, you're asking where could he get the funds to build them? He could have got bought out by Venkman and like Ray, bought out of the company. He's like, "Here, take my shares." No, if that's what he's asking, they could have just bought him out. So he's like, "You know what, guys, I'm out. I'm going to take off and go to this place." But he knows he wants to investigate like this whole, why is this earthquake happening in this place? I'm not a fault line. You guys are saying, there's plenty of ways
they established that, and he's supporting Ray's stance. So
Winston. How many it's already fake. Like he already had to build a bunch of stuff. Like how many traps did they have? There was like 100 traps. Like he got 100 traps and set all this up. Like it's movie logic anyways. This is all movie logic. So we have to assume that if he can do all this, he can do it, right? So
the other thing I was gonna say, you guys probably mentioned it, was why did Paul Rudd's character open the trap with Phoebe after school? I don't know if you mentioned that, but it's like movie 101 stupidity. It's like, well, let's see if there's a ghost or demon in here, and let's just open it up. It's like, that was so ridiculous. But
the thing about that like having all the events of part one in the real world is that like everyone would remember a giant marshmallow man trounced through the city. Right. The thing is that like they're sort of treating it as, well, was it real or was it not? Like these guys came and this thing happened, but it's like vague, which doesn't make any sense. But weird, so I think he just opened the trap because he's like, is this real? Is this a real thing? And of course it's real.
But they
in that
I was yelling at the screen in my head. I was like, what do this is only in movies, so like there might be a demon in here, but I'm going to open it up, using the school bus to jumpstart the trap. It's like, maybe I'd try to get in touch with the original Ghostbusters, hey, we found this trap, there's a,
you guys are right.
They should have called Ray before if they went to jail. Yeah.
Who are you going to call? I mean, come on.
They must have known. You're right. You guys are right. Like, if this was like real world, and a giant marshmallow man and ghosts and demons went into New York and almost destroyed the city, there would be like yearly and like there would be like anniversary parties for this. Right. Like, when I say party, I mean like remembrance. It
would be really big.
Like I want to bring it like for you, American friends here. Like 9/11, there's like all constant reminders of what happened, like the destruction, the loss of life, all this stuff. It would be the same thing in the Ghostbusters universe when a friggin' 50-foot marshmallow man comes trotting down the city, destroys half the city. Ghosts
Steps on
are
a
all over the
church.
place. Yeah, steps on a church. Like there would be like monuments to this. Like there's no way people would not know.
Well, plus the government would have taken over all of the Ghostbusters equipment and gear and just use like some kind of Patriot Act to like, they would have
Right.
the Demon
Yep.
Act or something, and just like, hey, we're hiring you, we're gonna give you billions of dollars, and you're gonna figure out how to fight the
Yeah.
next
Which is
I mean,
why
that's
you
just
can't
part
overthink
two.
Movie
You
logic.
can't
Yeah,
overthink
part
a
two.
Ghostbusters.
Can't
Yeah,
overthink.
they
Yeah,
got
you're
sued
right.
into oblivion.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying, like in the real world, if someone had come up with research on how to capture ghosts and they were real and they were threatening the world to the country, there ain't no way the
yeah.
government's not getting involved. I mean, you're right, Clobby. Yeah, it's just overthinking
You can't
things
overthink
could
it
be-
too much.
No, they would.
Yeah.
They would back up that truck of money and like they would have secret friggin' accounts, and the Ghostbusters would be billionaires.
like the
Well,
League of
that's
Extraordinary
the video
Gentlemen,
game
right?
plot. Like they're backing them secretly. Yeah.
No, but they ignored part 2, which I don't like either. Again, this is the whole Halloween. What was the other? Like all of these
Texas
ones. I was
Chainsaw.
like, Texas Chainsaw. It's just part 1 is the only one. I'm like, no. Why don't you continue from part 2? But again, if you continue from part 2, an entire Statue of Liberty became animated and walked around. So that would definitely not be.
I didn't
forgotten.
watch part 2 for 30 years until
Oh, yeah.
until recently, because it was just the thing. Like heard it wasn't good, and I'm like, I'm just not watching it. So I finally watched it.
We all kind of established that we liked it, like in the beginning.
Yeah,
of the,
what I don't like about part 2 is that they say at the beginning of part 2 that there were no ghosts after part 1. So it's like nothing for 5 years. Like, well, that sucks.
Well, the whole thing was leading up to Gozer, right? And then that was thwarted.
Yeah.
And then that's the other thing. So we talked about this right when the movie ended. Okay, so you can't use the streams because that's total protonic reversal. Remember that? And then it didn't work, right?
Right.
So they're like, you have to cross the streams to make one big one, and that's gonna, flip the doors or whatever. So they didn't do that in this. Like, Gozer can't be beaten.
They did.
They did, but she reflected
At
it.
the end, and then she grabs them, but they do
grabbed it,
cross
like-
the streams
Yeah,
together.
she pulled them apart.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like they sucked her in, but I thought she couldn't get like she's not a ghost.
She's
right?
not a ghost. It's the same with the demon dogs. I don't think you can defeat them the same way you defeat someone like Slimer. But
No.
so why is that
You're right,
demon
you're
dog
right.
in the trap? It's not a ghost.
I didn't get that. So again, see now maybe this is something that I just didn't get, but yeah, I was confused too. I'm like, well, what's happening here? She's a god. And you know what? I know that are you a god is supposed to be funny. I absolutely, because I think that line is so funny in the first movie, I hated them saying it. Because I clocked it. I'm like, oh God, here we go. And then they're like, really? You're not going to say yes? It's like, but they're not gods and she knows it. This is like, what is this?
Yeah, because she's met them before, right?
She's
Yeah.
met them before.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. She's just saying lines from the first
For the
movie.
first
and,
movie.
and it's like she's not really a character. It's like,
Character.
you know who these guys are. Why are you asking the same stupid question just because movie? Like,
That's right. It's like she needs to ask that for nostalgia.
Because all of a sudden they looked a lot older.
Sean, after the movie, you brought up a good point about Shandor as well, like how he built that town. You brought up a good point about that. Do you remember what that was?
no, he. I think you brought up that point that he built a whole town when they were researching Shandor in the first movie. Would they not?
I
notice?
said that.
It's
I said
it's
that.
like
J-Man.
he made a town. I don't.
No, I said so.
Anyway.
So no. Okay. So in the first movie, he goes, "Oh, I looked up Evo Shandor, and turns out he was this big weird guy." And da da da. Well, when you looked him up, did you not notice that he built an entire town? Like, see,
Yeah.
this is the thing. This is the thing where you get
Logic,
the continuity
damn.
nerds. We're like, and then we're writing this down. Like, hey, wait, that didn't happen, and whatever. It's like that. But you know what? There's only 2 movies. This isn't Star Trek where they're on season 17 of a show and you're like, oh shit, yeah, Spock said this and you contradicted what Spock said 5 seasons later or something. It's like, there's only 3 movies. Just watch the last 2 and make something new. Whenever you don't make something new, you get a problem. The best thing to do is be like, the Ghostbusters have all retired. There's new kids. They're hanging out with you. I want to see the Ghostbusters together. Beckman, pass me a beer. Winston, hey, Winston, hey Winston, your grandson's running around in the backyard. Oh yeah, oh Phoebe's being weird again. It's like Phoebe stole my thing. I want to see that. That's a celebration of Ghostbusters.
They could have done,
They're all together. They're having a good time. They're still friends. Wow, they're still friends. They have formed a bond. And Winston's like this big, awesome rich guy now, and he comes in and he looks really sharp and he's like, "How's it going, guys? Oh, Winston, hey, how's it going?" It's like,
Or they could have gone corporate and have like some massive corporation. Those four guys they're at the top of the chain, CEO, CFO, like whatever. And then now they're having little like Splinter Cell like franchisees, and they have these kids are coming in, or they want to learn and like, okay, we'll come in.
That was
Like,
our
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, that was our idea. It was Ghostbusters Inc. It was
Yeah,
like,
that was
it
our
was like
idea.
different franchises,
Hey, kids,
and they're all
work
not doing
after
very
school
well.
busting ghosts. Yeah, here,
Yeah.
pass on the permission slip, please.
They're doing like an internship or something, and they're just coming in and trying to learn. And they're in like they went to the first firehouse and stuff, and that's because they're in New York and stuff. And yeah, they can do anything at this point. They can use Chicago or Toronto. They can do you can go anywhere.
Oh, the other point,
International
the movie
Ghostbusters.
made a mistake too when they said the original. One of the characters said the original firehouse is a Starbucks.
Yeah.
And then the last scene, Winston rolls in, and I'm like, well,
Yeah,
where's
it's not a
Starbucks?
Starbucks.
No,
Yeah.
I
Starbucks
said
in the
that
firehouse.
immediately.
Yeah, I was confused about that too.
Seriously,
So yeah.
yeah, you're right.
So they added that after. I'm like, oops. At least they could have put like.
I mean,
have a
he could have
Starbucks
bought
going
it.
out of business. Yeah.
Yeah, he could have bought it, or have an establishing shot of like Starbucks out of business, new home of Ghostbusters
Yeah.
or something, right?
Yeah.
They could have done an establishing shot right at the door, and then have it open, and then they have him come and drive in the car. There's a bunch of. You're right, Marky nailed it, man. That's exactly what they could have done. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those things you can, like you said, you can overanalyze certain things, and like the heart and the spirit of the movie. The Reitman's son, obviously, he had his right heart, and they were trying to honor the tradition of the Ghostbusters. I don't think anything was done with malice or, try to,
I think I said it.
Character. I think it's just, if they'd hired us to write the movie, we would have
Yeah.
but,
It's not
we
me.
could add it some. I know.
I don't know if you were there,
but
Mark, but like I said, like the heart was there, but the execution was flawed. That's the
Yes.
thing. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what it came down
yes.
to.
Agreed.
I mean, I really still go away really loving the movie and like.
Oh, I love it too.
About it.
That's
Yeah.
why I gave it a it's 8, 7.5.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That last 20 minutes or whatever, yeah, because like I said, I was enjoying and having a decent time, but again, when we get to the farm for the big final or the big finale, the last stand, if you will, I was almost going, those sons of, they're not going to give me what I want, are they? They're gonna, because this is okay, but that's it. Are you going to tell me that terrible scene with Ray saying those things about Egon is the only
The
thing
toys
we're going to
gave it
get
away.
from the? Yeah, I heard about that, but I didn't trust it. I was like, maybe it'll be some kind of 2 seconds or something like it after the movie. I don't know. Maybe they were just putting those. I don't know.
Well,
I wasn't
Those are
sure
new-
that I
new
trusted the
Sean?
toys either. I'm not so sure. I was like, I think I might get screwed here. And I was kind of annoyed at that point. And then I was almost convinced we weren't going to get it because it was getting torn down to the
So
wire.
you're checking your watch, like, oh, this movie's almost
Yeah.
over.
Give me what I
They make you
want.
wait.
Yeah.
They
And then
make
some of
you
the pacing that like we were talking about it earlier. It's just there's a whole bunch of filler, and that the good stuff didn't last long enough. Like
Right.
they went from like I want to see like Ghost and shit, but it was quick, cut, onto something else. Like no, stay on this. Do the if you're gonna try and mimic the first movie in some ways, do that montage thing when they learn and they're coming out and they figure out how to use the packs and they go out and they catch that one Clobberin ghost and they come in and do all their shit and like they're just having fun learning the ropes. They can have Ray call in like, hey, how are you guys doing? They can do a bunch of stuff. But what they did in this movie, all the good stuff was just way too fast. Like you didn't have enough time to just enjoy seeing the ghost busting of the Ghostbusters movie.
The one scene I did like was when Phoebe meets Gruberson for the first time, and she's showing how smart she is. She's like, "Oh, what are these seismic charts?" And she's like, "Well, of course they're basically, what do you think? I'm an idiot? I can't." And then she cracks the joke like, what'd she say? I'm gonna ruin it, but it was like something that's very obtuse, or
That was great.
Yeah,
I loved her jokes.
She's
that,
really
that
good.
joke was great. Yeah, so that was
Great,
great. So
She was a big
was fun.
surprise to me.
Yes. So that
Yes.
introduction was fun, and it's also that's how you introduce a character that's not all powerful, all knowing, but has like that wit about them and charm and contrast. We keep going back to Force Awakens, Ray, in contrast.
What is wrong with you people tonight?
What is wrong? like Ray's intro, that first 5 minutes of Ray was okay when she's
For
scavenging
sure.
and
No, it
things.
wasn't.
That was cool. And then it was all downhill from there. But I just really liked the Phoebe character, and she was fallible too, which was good. So it wasn't she
I think for me
wasn't always perfect.
with you guys, like you guys are like experts at like all this like nerd shit. Like compared to you guys, I'm a filthy casual. So I'm looking at it from a different point of view. No, I am. I'm a filthy casual. Like I just watch shit. I just want to turn my brain off and just I want to see cool shit. So like when you guys break shit down to like the microscopic like level, like why. I'm just like, okay, they did cool shit. So like I'm kind of with you, Jay, and some with the way you approach Marvel movies. Like I just want to see them in the uniform and just like have fun. Like that's it. So that's how I approach like every movie. So which is different. Which I think that's why my rating was a little bit higher for you guys. I just walked in. They didn't really. Now that I talked with you guys, like the whole Egon thing is a complete disaster and a slap in the face. You're right. It's a slap in the face. It is a slap in the face to Harold and to the actual Ghostbusters. But overall, I came in there. They didn't really screw it up. They didn't spit on a license. And I walked away. I cried a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I bitched out and cried when Egon was holding the neutron wand and like everything was going on. I'm like, I fucking cried. I'll admit it right now. I cried in theater because it's something that I want to see for 30 years. Right? It's just I just want to. If I can't see actual Harold Ramis, I want to see at least something. And I think they honored him in that way. But that, like you guys were saying, man, that whole 2.5 hours of shit talk, it doesn't make up for like that 15 minutes. It doesn't make up for that.
Are they going to make a Ghostbusters Ghost Ray? I mean, now that the movie's out, I mean, Egon. I mean, that'd be so cool to have like a figure like that with kind of like a translucent ghost-like figure. You know, that would have been a spoiler before, but that's a collector.
They'll probably do it. They'll probably do it now that it's out. They probably had it produced already.
Yeah, we have to see where this is going to go now. See, I think this will go in a better. The next movie will go in the right direction because now they're together at the end. I just don't like the way that this all started. Like we know that Star Wars kind of went down, right? Whereas this might
kind of went down. It went. It jumped off a cliff and hit every cliff on the way down, man.
It started in the sewer, then it went down subterranean.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was down right away, and then it just kind of stayed down. But I think when I'm watching a movie, I got two minds, right? It's like I'm excited. I'm always excited. For me, it's character first, villain, then storyline. So, for example, like it's like I like Christopher Reeve as Superman. He is Superman to me. Therefore, as long as Christopher Reeve is awesome, I don't care. The movie is awesome. I love Superman 3. I love Superman 4. I don't care. It's like, oh, this doesn't make sense. I don't care. Christopher Reeve is Superman in my eyes. He's flying around and doing cool stuff. It's Superman. I don't care what the merits. And people can give me 100 points on why this sucks. I don't care about your points.
See, Jay, that's how I am with this movie. That's how I am with this movie.
Right. So to bring it to like, that's why the same thing with any movie that I'm watching. So for me, if I'm watching like Star Wars, the sin is Han Solo was ruined. I don't care about the merits of anything else. Luke Skywalker's ruined. I don't care. I can't review a movie where Luke Skywalker sucks. You could say there's some cool action. Oh, this is kind of neat, interesting ideas. Oh, what if Rey turned evil? That's a new idea. You can have a lot of interesting ideas, but I don't care. Luke Skywalker sucks. So it's over. That's my problem. That's number one. Number two is the villain. Number three is then the story. But if I'm trying to be critical, I've got to be like, for me, Egon was ruined. And I'm like, you ruined my favorite Ghostbuster just for a plot device. And I can't, dude, like 10 minutes in, I'm like, oh man, I don't know what's going on in this movie. I was pumped. I got my large popcorn, my drink. I was sitting there. I'm like, all right, boys, here we go. And I'm like, okay, it's going good. Jason Reitman saying how great everybody is. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. And then it's like, oh, Egon's trash, and I hate that son of a bitch. I'm like, oh no, why is this happening?
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
And then I can't recover because I'm like, well, now Egon sucks. And now I can't unthink it. Like you're saying at the end, does it redeem him? I know. Because they're not gonna have 2 hours of saying how awesome he is. It was right, like I can't.
Or what if, hey Jay, what if they redeemed him earlier than like a 2 hour shit fest? Or what if they like, okay, he's garbage, and then she calls him up and calls him back and say, no, here's what's going on, and he realizes early in the movie,
I would be okay with that.
I think they redeemed him a little bit earlier than you say they did. No, I think they redeemed him when Phoebe started finding out about him.
Yeah, she's like,
the chess game.
Not to everyone, I realize, but
right.
We already knew as an audience, and then Phoebe knew, and then later her mother and everyone finds out at the end.
Right.
And also Ray, does show up later, which shows that he felt really terrible. So you saw the look on his face when he was informed that Egon was dead. So
yeah.
I'm not saying I don't agree with you. I just don't think he was trashed for the whole time that you do. I mean, I don't like it, and I agree with you. I would have done it totally differently, but they didn't do to him what was done to Han or Luke.
It's not that, but I think my problem was with Rey. Everybody else not trusting Egon is fine, but it's when it was Ray, it's the phone call to Ray that
Yeah,
was
good
I don't
point.
like.
the deal
Yeah, I'm with
breaker.
you on that
Good
one.
point. Good point.
Although the
Like-
look on his face when he was told he was dead, kind of hit him. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't like
because-
that scene.
But
That
it shouldn't
changes
have
his view.
happened.
Like it's different. You call it, good
You're
buddy.
mad
oh,
at your
you
friend, then you
son
find
of
out
your
they're
bitch,
dead.
you SOB, and then you find out he's dead or something happened to him. You're like, oh my god, I'm gonna be over there to help him any way I can
Yeah.
in 2 seconds, like that kind of thing versus lifelong grudge where they hated each other's guts. But I agree that's a point. I think people maybe sometimes just gloss that over. Short attention span theater. If you're not paying attention to the movie, if you're on your cell phone texting, you want to catch that. But that's what I love. Watching movies and talking to everyone like this and finding out points. Although sometimes you lower my scores, you SOBs. Just kidding.
Listen, so there's a few people at my work. I'm the score lowerer. There's people at literally this one. There's 3 of them at my work, and this one guy 2 weeks ago was so excited for Spider-Man 3, and I gave 1,000 points on why this movie is trash. And he's like, "Oh, I'm never talking to you again."
I
And
didn't
he's
know
like,
Spider-Man 3 is trash, though. Good lord. But I hear you.
yeah, and he's
I did not
like,
know that.
"I'm never talking to you again on anything." He's like, "This." I was so excited. And
But
I'm
you
like,
didn't give
"Look,
Tobey Maguire dancing good good ratings.
I don't think Spider. Oh no, not. I'm sorry, Spider-Man. Whatever this is called.
Well, the both
No Way
Spider-Man
Home
3s
or
are
whatever.
bad.
Three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the fake part 3.
The new thing?
Yeah,
No Way
I've-
Home?
I have a DVD.
okay.
I have a DVD case, and I bought Spider-Man 1 special. This is years ago, of course.
Yep.
1 and 2, and then I'd saved a spot in the on the shelf, for 3. And I never bought part 3. I just leave it empty there.
I don't mind part
Leave it
3.
empty.
I actually don't mind part 3.
Are we talking
Bad,
Tobey Maguire
bad.
part 3?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tobey
It's a
Maguire
terrible
part 3.
movie.
I don't mind it that much. But I also don't care about Venom in general. So him being underused is whatever to me. He's not.
Oh,
I'm
me
not
either. I don't care about him either. But just like
Yeah.
the movie
Yeah, it
sucks.
was a horrible movie. I think.
Well, we could do.
I gotta lower your score on that one, J-Man. Come on.
My score's not that high, so I really can't
Okay.
go too much lower. But I don't hate it. It was it's okay. It's not as good. It's not as good.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. I could see. Yeah, you didn't
like-
hate the movie. Just what are they doing? What are
Yeah,
they
Yeah.
like
thinking?
part 2 was so good. Like part 2 for me is
Yeah.
I think 10 out of 10. If I think about it, it's either a 9 or 10 out of 10 for part 2, the real part 2, like Toby's part 2.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say the link that I put up. This link is a link. Was that Brendan who found that? Who was that? You
No, it
who
was
found
me.
Sean.
Oh, is that Sean who found that?
Yeah.
Where Jason Reitman is saying that Ghostbusters 2 is canon, which is a mistake because that makes your movie look worse because now people don't remember a Statue of Liberty jumping off the podium, running down the stairs.
Yeah,
It's like,
you should have
well,
referenced it. Yeah.
Like,
Blasting disco music of on giant speakers walking with a Nintendo controller.
and they patted her. They gave
Batter the feet.
Was it the Power Glove? Was that what it was?
It wasn't the Power Glove.
No, it was like the combat stick.
Max?
Yeah, it was the combat stick or something.
Yeah.
Which I always found extremely difficult to use as a side note. I could never
Right.
use that.
All
Right.
those Nintendo peripherals were really
Were bad.
messed
Bad.
up.
0 out of 10 for all of those.
Yeah.
For all
Power
those
Glove was
Just
the worst,
space on
man.
those, yeah.
Power Glove. It's so bad.
Yeah,
I
I
love
love
the
the Power Glove. It's so
I love-
bad. Yeah.
I love the Wizard. Lucas is one of the greatest cinematic characters of all time. I own all 97 of them.
Jay, I don't know if it was you or Davian that had the Power Glove back in the day, but I remember going to one of your guys' places and like, this thing is the worst fucking garbage thing ever.
Yeah, Davian had it.
I think Davian had it.
And we felt so bad for him because he was so excited. So these guys are all younger than me. He's like, Jason, I got the Power Glove. I was like, okay. And I was pretty pumped up. I'm like, oh, this is not good at all. And then you can't tell a kid, right? You're just like, oh, dude, this is so. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm like, well, why don't we try the controllers for a bit, it's like, oh my God. But yeah, okay. So, what are your hopes for the? We'll wrap this up pretty shortly. What are your hopes for the next one? I think the next one's going to be much better because now everyone's back together and everyone's going to play nice. So, hopefully, the next one will be better. Let's go, Sean. What do you think?
I hope they fight someone new. God
They
damn.
probably will.
Holy crap.
They won't.
Now
will
it's
not.
like Ivor Shandor's granddaughter or whatever. God damn it. But yeah, that's what I hope.
I love that song. Okay, it's not, but I love that song in part 2, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's not disco song. I just said it. I don't know why.
Okay, so Steve, what do you think for the next Ghostbusters? Do you think it'll be better? I guess it has to be better by your score, but
I mean, I hope it's better. I mean, if they bring Vigo back, I'm done. I'm never.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Please don't let
they
me.
find him in storage or something. They bring him out
Yeah.
again.
I'm so surprised they didn't. I was literally thinking they're just going to bring every single thing that's even remotely similar to Ghostbusters in any form and bring it in, because like halfway through this movie, I'm like, okay, this is just going to be all the old things all over again. And where's
You know what they could do? They're gonna have all the old Ghostbuster shit in some like New York City police lockup.
Right.
And then if you saw at the end of this movie when you see the blinker going off at the containment unit, it's going to go off and it's going to release all the other things that they have kept inside the lockup or something. I don't know. Sorry, Stephen. You're going to go.
Yeah, I always go off the last movie, so I mean, these guys didn't give me a lot of hope with this one. I other than Phoebe, the Phoebe and podcast characters. So if they sort of feature them and give us something new, it's got to be higher. But if they keep going back to the same well and like, oh, Gozer's back again, she got out of trap. Like, I'm sorry, I'm out of here, man. Like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, Clubby.
the problem with this movie.
Sorry, Steve.
No, it's okay. The problem with this movie, the good thing with this movie is it made me really want to go back and watch Ghostbusters 1. Bad thing with this movie is it didn't make me want to go back and watch it itself.
Oh, that's a great
Okay,
statement.
okay, that's good.
That
That's
is
good.
a very good way to state that. I think I feel that too. Okay, so Clobby, what do you think? Are you excited for part 2, I guess?
Not particularly, to be honest with you. If it happens, the fact that I enjoyed this with all the things, all the caveats and all the criticisms I have, meaning it's probably a fluke. They will do a next one, and it won't have some of the things that I really want in it, probably. So no, it's still modern Hollywood. It's still in the hands of, and Sean just makes the proper point that they're probably just going to dredge up some more stuff that they already have rather than doing something new. Because, it was bad enough seeing Gozer again. They'll probably do it. It'll probably Vigo. You're probably right. You guys are probably cursed it. So I don't know. It's just, no, I have no confidence whatsoever that the next one will be any good. Those kids, there'll be some of the kids. You might see Dan Aykroyd for a minute. I think this is a one and done kind of deal. It was a lot of fun with all of its flaws. It was still fun building up to it. Then we got a really nice love letter to fans, that the way it went down in the last couple of minutes and after the credits and all that stuff. And that's it. I'm kind of, not that I wouldn't watch it or anything, but I won't look forward to it. So.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, I don't think they actually need a sequel, though, if they make enough money. I mean, I don't know. I saw the box office has been pretty good, but movies today are making $200 million. So how much money will they put into it, and will they make it? And if they do make another one, will they be fighting the Death Star in the with the proton packs? I mean, yeah, I agree with 100%, guys. Yeah, come up with something original. I think that a good foundation was laid. I think Phoebe's a great character and podcast, and Trevor could be a good character too. So they have that foundation. But I think Bill Murray's really never wanted to go near the Ghostbusters again. I think that's why you didn't get a long sequence with these guys, because you only got them in for like 5 minutes or if that. So I think part of that's Bill Murray not wanting to return to. In some ways, that's kind of wise too. I mean, the first Ghostbusters is lightning in a bottle. How are you going to replicate that movie? I mean, just the one-liners, and as much as people like Ghostbusters 2, it ain't no Ghostbusters 1. I mean, that movie is just an all-time classic. We could just reel off all the quotes for the next half hour and just laugh among ourselves. But they had some good good quips in this movie, but. I like the characters, but if they do it, God, don't rehash it. And that's the problem with sequels. We want to see something original. Like Phantom was saying, go to England, go to Stonehenge, do something. Yeah. And then the other problem
go to Mexico, go to Mexico, go to Machu Picchu.
Why is the cartoon more original than the movies?
So, And then the problem is too, if you've solved the problem, you've destroyed all the ghosts, then you've got to come up with this big bad that's going to bring all the ghosts back. Like you've kind of written yourself in that corner where. By having all the ghosts disappear, it's not like you've had ghosts throughout the years. So I think that's part of the other problem with the writing. In the first movie, it's like that's what they do. You've got the one big bad, you got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and you're not writing for a sequel. So and most of the time sequels aren't good, but at this one, I got my Ecto one, got my popcorn, and I enjoyed it, and it was tugged at the heartstrings of the right parts at the end, and you kind of forgot, some of the bashing, was kind in my mind was kind of absolve the movie, and then and the kids are, like Phoebe was fun, so that they did that well, thank God. So, yeah, I gave it I'd give it a 7 out of 10. That was my. Would be my rating. Yeah.
Well, I love Phoebe, so just having her back would be good. I do want to. I just thought of something else though. I guess Egon didn't steal all the proton packs because the 3 Ghostbusters had them when they came.
Yeah.
So maybe he didn't steal. So how many proton packs were there, and how many uniforms were there? I don't know. They didn't think of it. I'm not thinking about it for them.
They got the proton packs on HasLab. From HasLab, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They're the only backers. So, Brian, what do you think? Any hopes for the sequel?
It depends. It depends on the writing. It'll come everything down to that. I mean, I just looked it up. The co-writer with Jason Reitman is a gentleman named Gil Kenan, whose only other writing credit is A Boy Called Christmas. So take with that as you will.
Never heard of that.
It's not even out yet. Apparently, it's coming out in 2021. But that's only his only other writing credit that I've seen.
Is it a Hallmark movie or something?
Let's go check. I have it up right here. Let's check it out. Boy Called Christmas. I think it is.
Sounds like one.
I think it is. I think it is.
Lifetime, at least.
Oh my god.
A Father Christmas, an ordinary boy with a loyal pet mouse and a reindeer at his side. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Here we go. Sets out on an extraordinary adventure to find his father, who's on a quest to discover the fabled village of Elfheim. There you go, boys. That's a door into Ghostbusters.
All right.
Like I said, it'll come down to who's writing it and the director. If Jason Reitman can come back and direct it and fix all the holes, which is clearly after this conversation, there's a whole shit ton of them. If he can patch it up into like a cohesive film, he can knock it out of the park. The question is if he has the ability and any other partners he's going to bring in have the knowledge of the Ghostbusters universe to actually make it a good movie. With the characters they have established, they could definitely do something amazing. They could do it. The Phoebe character, like podcast, even Rudd's character, even though he's kind of like the Louis Tully type guy, kind of like a fish out of water type dude, but still smart. They could definitely do something with it. The question is if they're going to. I'd say it's about 50-50 right now. That a movie will come out that is better than this.
right.
Which, according to you guys' scores, should be pretty easy.
It should be pretty easy.
Just
don't make fun of the original Ghostbusters.
Right. Yeah. Next movie, raise the bad guy now. Like,
right. Like the cardinal sin for all of this stuff is you make the characters that are from the franchise not look good. Now, they did not bash all the characters. Egon got beat up a little bit, but they redeemed them sort of. Some people say yes or no, more or less at the end. It's not like Force Awakens where nobody really got redeemed. Or in Star Trek where they keep taking these characters and dragging them through the mud. It's like it's not nearly that bad. So I want people to understand for sure that I don't think any of us are saying it's quite to that level. But it was a needless plot device that kind of tarnished Egon and Ray for his behavior, and it didn't really need to happen to tell this story. So that's sort of the bottom line, and it depends how much you're hurt by that. And I think the 3 of us were hurt a bit more than the 3 below. Does that sound right?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I mean, not to talk to the other guys, but yeah, I mean, I think if it didn't have that redemption, you didn't have that great scene in the end, and then, for me, it only really hit me when Ray said that son of a bitch or whatever, or whatever the line was. Then I'm like, what? What's what's going on? And I was in a movie theater with like 10 people, so there was no crowd reaction or it's not like a wild opening night where people go like, oh, you'd hear a reaction from people too. So
and it made Jay look not Jay it made Ray look bad too, just being like having like you were saying Jay, like that's not in his character to do that. He was always the guy that would believe things, like him saying what a bastard or whatever, like what a dick. And that's not something he would say. Like that's not
completely. Did he say he could go to hell or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. He can go rot in hell or something.
Yeah, he can rot in hell.
So they burned 2 major characters in one scene.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make my own cut. I'm just gonna erase that line.
Yeah. Honestly, that'll probably give Jay like 2 more points right off the bat, right there.
I'll give it an extra half a point for Jason Reitman thanking me to go pay money to see his movie, because that's one thing that you don't see from any director. Every comic book creator, movie director, all they do is want to antagonize people on Twitter. Anywhere
Yeah.
else in the world, you look at Japanese mangakas who are what are the creators of Japanese comics. They praise everybody. There's a Japanese comic that was canceled about a month ago. The creator of the canceled comic apologized and said, "I'm sorry that this comic did not live up to the expectations of the fans. I promise to try better on my next comic."
Man.
That is literally said. My wife reads tons of Japanese comics. She said, "Look at what this creator said." I'm like, wow. Here's
Wow.
what
Yeah, well, it's part of Japanese culture, you know.
that's part of Japanese culture. I'm sorry, I'll do better. Not you guys suck for not understanding how awesome I am. Anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Damn American.
You're a misogynist for not believing.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
you bigots.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just do a quick round. Okay, so Clobby, I mean, everyone who is on this chat right now is already subscribed to you, I believe, from everyone that I've seen in this chat. So, but anyways, go ahead and tell them what you're about, just in case there's one or two stragglers who don't know who you are.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. This has been fantastic, brother. And I'm trying to think of something we're going to get together and do another show. You and myself and Sean, because it was a lot of fun we had a couple weeks ago doing that review, even though it was tough to review Eternals. And boy, was this better than that, I think. Well, what isn't? I just clobber. Let's see, on Monday nights. In fact, this Monday night, the wonderful Purple Valkyrie and I will be talking about Alan Moore, the works of Alan Moore, because it was his birthday, that Looney Tunes, who's written some great stuff. So that's Monday night, Marc C Comics Talk. Wednesday nights, I usually do Wild Card Wednesday. Sometimes I hang out with my friends in the chat. Sometimes I do a topic. And on Thursdays, the Global Geek Gang, except for Thursday this week because it's Thanksgiving. But Thursdays, I do the Global Geek Gang in the middle of the day. Thursday nights, Clobby's Clubhouse with Marc here and my wonderful Raquel, my first officer. And Saturday nights, it's the biggie, man. We've been having a lot of fun with that. Saturday night Star Trek, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're reviewing all of real Star Trek. That's 66 through 05 only. Only the real deal. It's going to take us a while. And we just started the 4th season of Star Trek The Next Generation. We review 4 episodes tonight, and what a big crowd. We interact. We get everyone's ratings. We let our chat rate the thing and give us their opinions on the episode. Lots of fun. So it's called Clobberin Times. I have some comics history videos out there as well, Spinner Rack Time Machine, and a few other ones I'm doing. So that's it, man. And I am a big fan of J-Man, and if you're here, please spread the word because he has got a cool channel.
Thank you. Well, I have a link to your channel in the description of all my videos anyways.
Thanks,
Marc,
man.
Marc,
Same to yours, by the way. It's in mine, too.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And the Star Trek, I can give you all my Star Trek. I can give you my 735 reviews. All original series, all Deep Space Nine, and all Voyager are 10 out of 10 every episode.
Voyager?
They're all 10 out of 10.
Oh, my God. We're going to have a talk with you.
We're going to have and all Next Generation episodes are 9 out of 10.
All? Did you see the ones we reviewed last time? Never mind, go ahead.
I did see. They're all 9 out of 10 because I just can't stand half the cast. Like I can't stand the ladies.
They have some really garbage episodes, though, dude. I mean, it's a good show, but good Lord, there's some bad ones, man. But
if Star Trek, if it's the 735 Star Trek, it's like I just love everything. I can't review it. I can't. It's like every Deep Space Nine episode.
Even Alternative Factor?
But dude, you did so good tonight. I mean, you did so well. You were pragmatic. You were a true critic tonight on a Ghostbusters.
I know.
You could do that with Star Trek.
No,
yeah, it's okay.
Like I told you, if Spock has a line of dialogue, it's automatically 10 out of 10, except for
Spock's
JJ.
brain. There you go.
I love Spock's brain.
But that's not.
You guys
Star
talked about that when I was watching your thing. I'm like, no, you guys are insane. This is awesome.
I think I remember you commenting in that. Yeah.
I just watched that one with my wife.
Like, who's this crazy J-Man guy?
We're gonna have a talk one of these days, boy.
And does he have a beard like Lazarus from Alternative Factor?
I don't know, man. I love it. I've watched everything like at least 5 times over. Next Gen is the only one where I don't like some of the characters, so I can't get into the characters.
Yeah, everyone hates Wussy, so they're Wussy Crusher. So anyway, thanks for having me, brother. I'm having a great time.
All right, so Marc D, let me get you on full screen here and let everybody know. And I've got your link in here, but your link's in the description as well, anyways.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it. Yep.
I'll put it up for you because you got that for me. So there you go. Let everybody know what's going on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for lowering my rating on the film. No, but I love hearing like Sean. You guys, that's great to have I didn't like it, or I love having reasons why you don't like something that makes sense and can explain it. So yeah, check out my channel. I do a lot of toy reviews. I just had a video up on quick reaction Ghostbusters and showing this toy off, and other old toys, new toys. I've got a segment called Enabling where I try to get you to spend your money because it's better that you spend it and I don't. Even though too often, as you can see from the room behind me, I've got quite a bit of stuff. But yeah, just enjoy hanging out with you guys. These kind of things are really been a lot of fun. With the lockdowns from the vid, it's been great to connect with a lot of people. So just appreciate the chance. And Clobby mentioned too, I'm on Thursday night with him, and later tonight I've got my Sunday night geekery. I'm sure Clobberin Times will be there. And Arwen Avalon, Nick Wise is going to be there, some other friends. So just hanging out, talking about this movie again, and other things that happened during the week. Arwen's latest faux pas, I should say. We were talking about astrolabes last week, and she kind of messed that one up. I just posted a funny video on that, but I want to explain that now. Yeah, so that we want to keep it PG, but yeah, but it's been fun being here, and yeah, look forward to doing more videos with you guys. So take care, and call me anytime.
Okay, awesome. So Brennan, I got your website up. Do you want to let everybody know what you don't really? I've seen your YouTube channel. You don't do much on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I don't. I have a very, very old account. Like, it's very old. It's one of the first. It's like 2006. I pretty much started when the site happened, but I don't really post that much. So if you want to give people a follow, give the guys here in this chat a follow instead of me. You'll be much better off. I might mostly just come in and comment on J-Man streams. I do stream on Twitch occasionally. I've really slacked on that. I should probably put in more effort. It's everything is linked to my website, www.brennankovic.com. I have a short films on there that I've acted in and written and directed. I have another film we're just doing prosthetics now and makeup, so that should be pre-production right now, and production should be starting in the next couple of months. So that's happening. Yeah, I don't really post that much. So yeah, give everyone else a follow here. Give J-Man, give Clobberin, give Sean, Steve. You get everyone on Marc with the C. Give those guys a follow. Don't follow me. Just check out my website once in a while. That's pretty much it. Just check out my website. Follow everyone else. These guys are geniuses, man. These guys have passion for comics and movies and toys and stuff that is honestly unrivaled from a lot of people. I'm not saying this to suck up to anyone. I legitimately believe this because Jay knows I tune in pretty much every time he comes live. I'm always in the chat most of the time. So yeah, give these guys a follow. They have the passion and the love for everything, and they generally have rational reviews and thoughts on things. So give these guys a follow. Don't worry about me.
All right, thank you. Okay, so Sean and Steve, you're always on here, and Steve, you're linked on everything I got you. Yep. So we're good. Okay, I think that is going to be it. So Marc. I think Marc and Clobberin are going to go on Marc's channel. Is that right?
At 11 o'clock.
Yeah, so it's about an hour, maybe just this little.
Yeah, hour 20.
Hour and a half.
About an hour and a half from now. Well, we just lost Brennan, but so yeah, you guys are going to be live pretty soon talking about Ghostbusters. So if you want to hear more, and if you want to hear more positives, I'm assuming, than when you heard from us.
Well, you never know what the other panelists will say too. We'll go.
Oh no, we're going to hate it now. We're going to go on and trash the crap out of them. Thanks to you.
Any negatives you attribute to me? Say, J-Man.
God, J-Man, big Mr. Scrooge here, ruined this movie for me. Thanks a lot, guy. I think it sucks now, man. Don't go see it.
Sucks.
All right, boys. I just subscribed to your channel, so looking forward to some good shit. There you go, boys.
Thank you. Great to meet you, Brennan.
Yeah, man, it's good to talk to you guys. It's good to actually have my voice on and face on screen instead of just having my stupid text coming through.
Yeah, man, it's great to meet Steven. It's great to meet you. And Sean, dude, one of these nights, let's have a John Byrne Superman bashing show.
Oh my God! No, stop it! I'm gonna have to fight all of you guys. I'm gonna have to rewatch The Fountainhead again before I go live. Anytime I need to fight everybody, I do the big speech at the end where he's like, "It's all about like the individual and all that."
Don't over Ayn yourself, but yeah.
You got to listen to some Rush. Listen to some Rush music too. Then
Look, I'm just at least Ghostbusters wasn't directed by Hack Snyder, so there's that. But
yeah, there is that.
That would have been a disaster.
Did you see all the slow mo shit?
Slow mo ghosts.
Slow mo ghosts and lens flares. Oh no!
And you think Egon's bad in that? Egon would be like a child serial murderer, killing child or whatever, children, and and he'd be like oh god, it'd be horrible.
They'd
We'll
have the
see
black
Ray-
suits. It'd all be the black suits.
Right.
Or whatever from-
Ray would be in prison. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. So so check out Marc's channel in about an hour and a half from now, and I will see you guys next week. I'm not sure when I'm streaming. I'll figure something out, but we'll go from there. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks,
guys.
guys. Yep. Take care. Have a great night.
Hey friends, you've just been listening to J-Man, and he is the smartest person who ever lived. So make sure you like and subscribe.